which personally I find to be a little bit odd. This is like a lot of pictures.
Hello, welcome back to the Void. Today we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, the big update, which is just that he had no client list and offed himself. That's according to Axios. In a big scoop, they apparently got a hold of this document from the US DOJ and FBI, kind of a joint statement here. We're going to go through it. They say, as a part of a commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review of the investigative holdings related to Jeffrey Epstein, sort of a relook at the evidence, if you will, and they come to some very interesting findings. And it's interesting in that it's contrary to what a lot of what they've been saying all along, and that's what's kind of the problem here. For the last few months, we've been teased along with these statements about, you know, oh, we've got the client list.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
It's sitting on my desk right now. Wait, hold on. This is important. We're going to get back to this because I feel like this matters a lot. Honestly, I feel like this is one of the keys to what people are upset about. I want you to lock in. This woman works in the federal government, okay? Just hear me out. I think this is important.
With these statements about, you know, oh, we've got the client list.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
No cuts, no edit, no nothing. Might be releasing the client list? It's sitting on my desk right now. I don't know. That seems pretty straightforward to me, but I could be tripping. I don't know. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist or something. I don't know. Who are you going to believe? Me or your eyes?
To review.
We've got thousands of videos.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child.
Wait. Tens of thousands of videos? And it's just Epstein and nobody else? Not like a couple dozen, not a few hundred, but look, I don't know, man. This is just Attorney General. Maybe she's just joking.
Right now to review.
We've got thousands of videos.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child.
And then, you know, Patel goes on Joe Rogan and says, hey, there ain't no videos. If I had a video of a guy on an island committing a felony, don't you think you know about it?
Again, logical.
Oh, check this out. This is important, okay? This is also from the Joe Rogan Experience, which I have heard is a very trusted source of news, okay? Lock into this.
Video of a guy on an island committing a felony, don't you think you know about it?
Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
No.
So already, seems like a bit of a contradiction. Now, Joe Rogan even tries to give him the out, like, oh, maybe you don't have it. And he's like, no, we're giving you everything.
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
Do you have it or not?
So far.
Everything we have so far is.
Have you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
And so there already was a wedge with what we were sort of told we're going to get versus then they come out and say, hey, nothing to see here. And today is a little bit more of that. It's a little bit more of the finger wagging at the conspiracy theorists, which is ironic given that both Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who have now come out saying there's nothing to see here, guys, were saying, oh, there's a lot to see here before they got in.
Who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
It's unbelievable. The guy.
Wait a second.
Jeffrey Epstein.
This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
Wait, so that's Kash Patel saying that it doesn't look right and it doesn't look like he took his own life. Interesting. Very interesting. Because there's no footage of the end of Epstein's life. So how do you come to the conclusion after the fact that it actually was a suicide but there's no footage. I'm learning nothing.
It's unbelievable. The guy killed himself.
Now, maybe that's because they did a deep dive and they're just being honest with people.
Again, you want me to get... I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I've seen the whole file. He killed himself. Why can't we see it?
I think you deserve criticism if you're going to engage in this type of conspiratorial thinking, and then when it's convenient for you, you expect the trust of the people. If you're the one saying like, hey, those guys can't be trusted, you become that guy and you go, well, guys, you can trust me, right? When I'm going to say the exact same thing everyone's been saying this whole time. That's why it's so stupid. I mean, you guys set up all the wrong expectations. You told us we're going to reveal the truth, and now they're saying there's nothing to see here, and shame on you for thinking there was. And once again, this is more self-contradiction, because in this statement, we actually find immediately first page, second paragraph, saying that there's a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to...
Would it be so difficult to release the images and videos with the kid's face blurred out? So many people said that once they got into these positions, they would release the files. But then you'll hear on another occasion, we don't want to re-victimize these people. But the survivors that I have seen are like, these people still haven't been held accountable. There are teenagers that know how to blur faces and release video. So are we supposed to believe that the federal government couldn't do that? Maybe they just don't feel like it.
Be minors. My question is, there's no one else? In this statement, they admit that Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims.
Apparently, it was just Jeffrey Epstein and nobody else. Single-handedly. And, doubtful, but that's just me.
So, you got 1,000 people, either some form of evidence that he harmed. Nobody else was involved. Epstein's around the most powerful people on the planet. 1,000 victims. No, nobody else. There's images and videos. Apparently, that's what they say. Nobody else is on camera, right? Because otherwise, that would mean that the FBI director went on Joe Rogan and told a lie, told a little fib.
If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
But, okay, but they already said that they have the footage, though. They said they have thousands of hours of footage. They said that there's... And he's like, well, don't you think you would see it? I mean, I don't know. Why would you say that?
But he says he's going to get the evidence out. So how do you square this, right? There's 1,000... Was Epstein just filming himself the whole time? For like, did he put it in the evidence box? I mean, that's the ridiculous thing about this. Why would you film yourself committing these acts? That's where the whole blackmail angle came from. Was there's all these videos for what, right? And I'm sure those people, these powerful people, did not consent to being recorded. So what else was this being used for? It's just pretty amazing. This whole statement seems to absolve any third parties, saying that they really have nothing else that they can bring that would expose third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing.
It just doesn't... It's not really squaring for me. Like, I just don't... I guess the federal government is under the impression that people would be satisfied to hear that their conclusion is that, nah, it was just Jeff. Just Jeff and Jizz? Jeff and Giz? Is it Jizz Lane or Giz Lane? I don't care. Put her in the dirt. I didn't mean that. That was a joke.
Saying later, this systemic review revealed no incriminating client list. Now, here's where I gotta say, like, yeah, what, you didn't find the little notebook that had the, like, every guy that did something wrong on it? Yeah, obviously that's probably not gonna exist, right? But if you have videos and somebody appears in the video doing something bad, it's not a client list, but that's a client, right? So I just find it so hard to believe. I just don't believe. I'm gonna be honest. I do not believe that you had so many videos, apparently enough to catalog over 1,000 victims. and not a single other person other than Epstein appeared.
It just makes me feel like the number came out of thin air, because 1,000 victims means that they saw 1,000 different individuals being victimized. But if they're saying, I mean, I never, like, to be clear, expected like a long list of all these celebrities to be released. I didn't expect ever for the federal government to come out and be like, so we got Bill Gates, we got Zuckerberg, we got Clinton, we got the other Clinton, we got 6 Bidens, 14 Trumps. Like, I never expected that kind of list. I think that people expected literally like anybody, maybe 2 or 3 people. It's just the fact that it's nobody, like nothing. Nobody did anything. It was just Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine. That's it. Those are the only 2 people that did anything to 1,000 different people. Who believes that? Nobody believes it. It's unbelievable.
Any of them, right? He's friends with all these famous people. He got rich, and nobody knows how he got rich. People suspect that it was some form of blackmail, but the FBI seems to basically say this is a conspiracy theory. They say perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends of combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. You know, I actually agree with that. I do think we have to be careful not to jump to, conspiracy theories. The problem is when you release contradictory evidence, it makes people think that you're hiding stuff. Like that is not being helped in this release. I don't know if they're saying, oh, we're being so transparent here. Seems like the first big release was a nothing burger. Then they said they had, reviewing all these videos. Then they say if we have videos of people committing crimes, we tell you about those. And then they say we have thousands of videos, but we're not going to show you them because there's
thousands of videos. We don't see even one cropped, blurred, anything. Like 0 footage.
nothing to see. There's nobody on there important. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Quote, we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. In other words, there's nothing we found that would be useful for a future investigation. That's what I find so interesting. Like, I get if you don't want to accuse someone in a press release of something that you haven't accused someone of, like, with criminal charges, right? I get it. That's kind of the Department of Justice's way. Even if they have a file on somebody, but they're not going to charge them, they redact their names, usually. But in this case, they're kind of saying, we didn't find anything that we would...
Which is just so obviously a lie. Because they did say that they found stuff. They said that they found thousands of victims. But apparently, and this is kind of the running bit, these victims were trafficked to nobody or just Epstein himself. They're basically trying to say that it was all for one dude. It was just one dude. One guy. One guy and 1,000 little girls? If Jeffrey Epstein was getting down like that, there is... Why would he have time to do anything else or be anywhere else? Like, where are these people?
I mean, it's such a strongly worded statement. That's what's weird about it. Why wouldn't you just be vague if you had these pending cases, right? I find it so weird that the people in the FBI right now have come in with such a mission to, on the one hand, say, hey, we're going to be totally transparent. And then, oh, well, we're not going to show you that. We're not going to show you that. We don't want to re-victimize anyone. Okay, that's fine. But then how are you going to make a bunch of absolute statements that make no sense and contradict what you said earlier? Like, if you're saying we can't say anything, then don't say anything. Don't say, hey, we're going to tell you everything. Well, we actually...
Also, the timing of this is awful. Like, you're telling me Diddy got off easy and the Epstein clients got off easy within, like, the same week? Shit is a bad look. I said this in the members-only derps Discord server. You can join if you become a member for $1. You know, America is less than 300 years old, and, like, we're a relatively young country. and we could collapse before we're even 300 years old. We might not even hit double digits like generations, and we're already about cooked. It's just so strange that, you know what, to be fair, this is something that I said a lot of the time, and people might not like this, but I don't care. This is just a product of the government. Politicians, bureaucrats, they've always thought we were pretty stupid. And I honestly thought that it was like a blue team thing. Like, Democrats were frequently talking to the voter base like they were idiots. Everything's fine with Joe Biden. Look at him. He could do 100 push-ups right now. And it just turns out that no, everybody thinks that we're all stupid. Everybody that works in the government thinks that everybody in America is dumb. And the only hope that I found in this situation, the only like sliver of silver lining that I found that's brought me a little bit of hope, is that I am obviously addicted to what was formerly known as the Bird app, and Epstein has been trending #1 for like 3 or 4 days. Now, literally anything that's ever happened on Twitter always stops trending after, at most, like 2.5 days. Like, dude, like when Kobe Bryant died, which was like at Chadwick Boseman, like when Trump becomes president, I'm talking about like really, really huge earth-shattering events happen. They never trend for more than like 2 days. This Epstein shit has been nonstop. And I just hope that they feel the pressure, because I just think it's insane that they honestly think that they could just release a memo and people would be like, oh, it makes sense to me. Everybody has access to the internet. I feel like the American government is just underestimating the perseverance of their own people to seek the truth using the www.coms. And it's tough. You know it's bad when even Red Team is like, I thought we were draining the swamp. I thought we were going to lock up those diddlers. I see a lot of even MAGA people on Twitter are like, this shit is not looking sweet right now. That's how you know it's really bad. It's really bad.
We cannot, we can't actually show you. And that kind of overconfidence extends to also their, pronouncement about, hey, there's nothing to see here as far as the death of Epstein, because they don't really show much new here. We knew that this footage of the common area existed. Basically, they showed 10-hour footage of the common area during the time at which this all would have happened, Epstein's death. And so this is supposed to be like the absolute bulletproof, to show everyone that, oh, there's no way that someone could have gotten in here. But this is not actually Epstein's door. So, I mean, I don't know the exact layout of the prison. I'm not going to pretend to know everything there. But this is no more proof than we already had. We already knew this existed. The questions were about all the security malfunctions of the much more important cameras than just the common area. I'm not sure how a 10-hour video of a common area definitively proves anything new. That's
a 10-hour video of a common area where nothing is happening and thinking that like absolves everyone involved is really insane. They're just like, look over here. Can't you see that nothing is happening?
what I'm saying. You can't come in and go, hey, we got this bombshell. It's what you already knew, right? That doesn't make sense. And also, we've confirmed there's over 1,000 victims. Don't know who by. I mean, like, only Epstein?
And we've kind of gotten to the point, or at least me personally, I feel like I've been seeing this. You all can let me know, Chathu, by all means, chime in. I don't think people really care about the whole, like, did he kill him over? Did somebody kill him? It's like, that's like a part of it. I think the more important thing is, like, who did the diddling? I feel like that's what people actually care about. I just think it kind of, this is just a theory, pure conjecture, okay? I think that Elon Musk popping out and saying that Trump's on the list probably got people's feet a little hot. And maybe that's why they felt like they needed to jump out the window and be like, it's over. The investigation's over. It's done. It's done. It's done.
Really, look at the charges of Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, it's insane. Are we saying they were all to Epstein? Every single one.
That's what they're trying to say. Literally every single victim was just an Epstein victim.
Over 1,000 only for Epstein. The way he got his money, we have no idea. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, an incredibly frustrating day for anyone who was expecting anything new from this, administration coming in saying they were going to clean house, get rid of the corruption, fight for truth, release the truth. You're not gonna.
Yeah, so that was a fucking lie.
Catch me.
All right, so shout out CoffeeZilla, of course. Like his video and subscribe to his channel, voidzilla. He's doing a lot of coverage on there. We are not even close to being done. This video is titled White House Responds to Missing Epstein Footage. I haven't seen it either. Live, raw reaction. Shout out the coffee, man.
Today we're talking about Epstein, the missing footage, the White House's response, including the fact that they're saying you should stop asking questions about it. How dare you bring it up at a time when they just released new information about it?
Why is everybody asking about all this Epstein stuff? All we did was come out and say that we're not looking into the Epstein stuff anymore. Like, come on. Let's be real. Do we bring up the 2020 election all the time? Yes. Do we want you to stop bringing up the 2021 whole riot thing? Yes. Are we still hunting Biden and his whole family over stuff that they did a decade ago? Yeah. But stop asking about this Epstein stuff. We told you that it's over like a few days ago, so stop asking about it.
You say why there was a minute missing from jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah, sure. If I could,
Did I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Oh my God. Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Jesus. Do I have to show you the picture again? All right. I'm going to show it. Why do we keep asking about Epstein? What does Donald Trump or anybody in the White House have to do with Epstein? I don't know. What does this look like? Because to me, this looks like the President of the United States with the guy. Trump's like, let him rest in peace.
This guy's been talked about for
Sure.
1 second. Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That
Oh, now he's a creep? Hold on.
is unbelievable. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? This, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
This creep? Oh, now he's a creep. That's weird. That's weird. Now, me personally, right? I would have to come out and say something to like justify why I was spending so much time with this creep. I don't know, man. That creep was your pal for a bit. It really be your own people. But all right, man, go off. Okay.
That is unbelievable.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where
At a time like this? Why would you ask about Epstein at a time like this when we just released new news about Epstein? What are you doing? We told you that nothing happened. Leave me alone.
like answer.
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration.
The level of
This is... When my wife comes home today, there's certain things around the house that I take care of. I feel like it's only right, I'm on my J. Cole, okay? I'm folding clothes when I can. It's the least I can do. I'm here all the time. But let's say I wasn't doing my duties around the home, If she wants to raise an issue with me, I'm going to be like, you really want to bring this up right now? At a time like this? Do you know what's happening in Texas? Did you know that there's a literal genocide happening right now? Babe, I'm going to need you to relax. Talking about laundry. What are you doing? Who deflects like this? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why would you ask about this? yes, we just put out a statement about it, but stop.
This guy, this creep, that is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on
I can't believe
Epstein
it.
at a time like this, where we're
at a
having
time
some
like
of the
this.
greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration.
The level of gaslighting here is unbelievable. These are the same people that have led us on for months that they're going to release the Epstein files, that it's transparency time. They're the ones that did the press op with them holding up the Epstein binders with.
It's like that's the same chick who's holding up the supposed Epstein files. Then they come out and they're like, there are no files. And then they ask her like, yo, what's up with the files? And Trump's like, how dare you?
The influencers, they're the ones who said in 2023 that we would better serve the American people by going after Epstein's client list.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait, is this Junior Trump? Rather than endlessly going after their political enemies, maybe Jack Smith and Biden's DOJ would better serve the American people going after the Beatles on Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Dude, tell your dad.
2023 that we would better serve the American people by going after Epstein's client list. In fact, they're the ones who went on podcasts saying they're going to release the Epstein list.
Release the list.
Release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
Whoa! Is that couch enthusiast JD Vance? Hold on.
Release the list. Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
We need to release the Epstein list? You're in the government!
That is an important thing.
That is an important thing, or was an important thing until there was no Epstein list. Turns out there's nothing to see here, nobody to charge. Epstein was trafficking to himself the entire time, and it is a desecration to even bring it up. Now, why this is so
I don't think Trump knows what desecration means. I'm not going to hold you.
disgusting is the DOJ
I know he's the vice president.
chose to release it now. Okay, in case you don't know how bad news gets released in the era of PR and all this kind of stuff, they choose the timing, and they always choose the most inconvenient times to talk about stuff, the busiest news cycles. It is a very busy news cycle. There are a lot of things going on that are important, but that's why they released it now, because they know nobody's gonna like this, right? They know that. So they release it now, and then they scold people for talking about it. You get how gross this is? You guys are the ones desecrating.
It's literally, oh my God, no, I'm not gonna do it. But it's just, it's like a toxic relationship. It's like they bring it up, and then you're like, wait, that doesn't seem right. And they're like, why are you even bringing that up right now? You put out a statement about a thing. We ask about the statement, and then you're like, dude, there's so much going on right now. You put it out there. What do you mean?
If anyone's desecrating anything, it's you guys. You guys chose to release it now, okay? So to play this cynical card of like, how dare you talk about it at a time like this? You chose the time. A few months ago, it wasn't a desecration to brag about the transparency, right? But now,
How is, by the way, I mean, this doesn't get talked about enough because this is more of just like an ethical conundrum.
a few months ago,
What is ethical about this? These people are smiling. They're smiling and memeing about like child sex trafficking. They're like, oh, we got it right in the binders right here. Is this what you want? Hee. Like they're, you know. Like, I'm on YouTube. You all are a part of a chat on a live stream. That's one thing. These people are actually supposed to be solving the problems. They're just screwing around. They actually don't give a fuck. I mean, that's, if we're being honest, they really just don't care.
it wasn't a desecration to brag about the transparency, right? But now the old Epstein list apparently can't be released because it doesn't exist. Now, oh, it's a desecration to even bring it up. How could you talk about this New York financier? Luckily for us, Pam Bondi does actually address the missing minute of footage. Now we're going to talk about that.
The video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
And that's it.
And that's it on Epstein. Now that I've answered the question about the missing minute, do not bring that shit here again. Stop asking. We don't want to talk about it.
Release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
And that's it, guys. Apparently, every night, the surveillance system of this prison had 1 minute missing, okay? One key minute, the middle of the night. We don't know why, but it's the whole system. Apparently, the whole system that went out 10 days before, the part of the system that was working, 1 minute was always missing. But surely there's nothing that could have happened during that minute. Now, again, I'm not even on the team of, like, it has to be that someone killed. I'm agnostic to that. What I am saying is the absolute confidence with which they come out and say, it proves everything. Yes, there's a minute missing. Yes, we don't know what happened. But nothing to see here, guys. We're closing the case. I mean, you couldn't try harder to make it look like a cover-up. I'm not saying...
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not even really about the missing 1 minute. It's just the fact that the inconsistencies make it seem like they're trying to hide something. If they would just be more forefront, if they would, frankly, I think the worst thing that they could have done is come out and say the investigation is over. If they would have just not done anything, or alternatively, and this would be really cool, but absolutely insane, actually investigated, actually potentially released this footage. It's just weird to say we have thousands of hours of footage. There is over 1,000 victims, but you can't see anything. Also, it was just Jeff. It was Jeff and Jiz and nobody else. We don't believe you. Show us the results of the investigation. If there's nothing to see, then there should be nothing to hide.
I mean, you couldn't try harder to make it look like a cover-up. I'm not saying it is a cover-up. I'm saying you could, if you were to do that, this is what you would do. You'd say, hey, there's always minutes missing from our footage. Your prison guards would falsify records and then fall asleep during the key hours. Your security system that was monitoring the actual cell block would go out. And then you would claim the camera that was recording that didn't have a good line of sight, which had an obstructed view where someone could slip by the stairwell without anyone noticing. You'd claim that was definitive proof that nobody entered. So you can't blame people for asking questions given the powerful people involved when there's these coincidental mistakes, right?
There's just way too much. Oh, YouTube is low-key shadow banning you. I just had to type in your whole name and scroll for a second to find your channel. That's tough. Well, that's just more motivation to keep going. I just feel like I'm really interested in it, but I also think that it's important for people that are just genuine, like, just generally curious, but don't have time to go out of their way to, like, find certain content themselves. I don't know. I know that this isn't the most, lucrative way to spend my time, considering YouTube is my job, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm extremely interested in this, and why not bring it to the people? So I'm sorry that people have to go through a little extra work to find this live stream, but you know, that's why it's important that you like the video, because I love Coverup and I watch all of his stuff all the time, but you know, there are maybe a few hundred people or maybe 1,000 or 2 after I re-upload this that may not have seen it otherwise. And I just think it's important to be informed if nothing else, you know. I'm the type of person that before I watched any of these videos, I didn't really know what everybody was talking about. I just knew that it all seemed fishy. Now that I'm actually getting more context, now that I'm actually watching this content, I'm like, yeah, this shit kind of reeks. I mean, it smells like it, it walks like it sounds like it just looks bad. It just looks off. It feels wrong. Like and every time they try to say stop asking about it, we're done, it just makes it look worse.
Even the first attempt, which put Jeffrey Epstein on a watch, that footage was captured on tape, but they failed to preserve it. That was a whole other saga, was, oh, they just preserved the wrong footage, so it's lost to time.
Wait a second. Hold on. Speaking of learning new things.
Epstein on a watch, that footage was captured on tape, but they failed to preserve.
Chathu, did you even know that there was a first attempt to take his own life? I just learned that right now. Wait, what?
That was a whole other saga.
So he already tried, and they still had people falling asleep and missing footage? I don't understand. I never even knew that was the first attempt. And now they're like, we just need you to accept the fact that there's always this minute missing. And yes, we're still giving him unmonitored phone calls, and people were still like falsifying their documents. And then we left him unchecked for 8 consecutive hours after he had already made an attempt on his own life. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Epstein allegedly spoke to his lawyer after that attempt and said he wasn't suicidal and never attempted to. I don't know, man.
Was, oh, they just preserved the wrong footage, so it's lost to time, right? That's also
it's lost to time.
So the same time where Epstein accused his cellmate of trying to kill him, by the way.
Tonight, a lawyer who met with Jeffrey Epstein days before his death says Epstein told him he'd never tried to kill himself 3 weeks before.
Oh, shit! It's right here. Oh, Jesus. Yo, coffee really on it, dog.
Jeffrey Epstein, days before his death, says Epstein told him he'd never tried to kill himself 3 weeks before, despite jail reports saying he did.
What are we even doing here? What is this? What is going on?
By the way,
tonight, a lawyer who met with Jeffrey Epstein days before his death says Epstein told him he'd never tried to kill himself 3 weeks before, despite jail reports saying he did.
Sean says Epstein revealed that a few days earlier, his former cellmate, Nicholas Tartaglione, had placed something around his neck.
And he put a rope around Mr. Epstein's neck, throat, and then pulled it. That left the abrasion.
Tartaglione was a former cop on trial for murdering 4 people. He used a twist tie to strangle one.
They put a dude that was on trial for killing 4 people in a cell with Epstein.
One of them.
But apparently we can't ask questions about that because, you know, they chose to release it at an inconvenient time. And
all right, bro. All right. Okay. All right.
And therefore, asking questions about it is somehow evil, wrong, or undignified. It's a desecration.
YouTube, please don't cook me. I'm just watching news. I'm just trying to get the information, man.
Now, besides the 1 minute missing, Pam Bondi also addressed the tens of thousands of videos that she said that she had access to, now saying that they're largely irrelevant child exploitation material.
Also to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child is what they were. No.
Wait. Now she's saying, so the footage is just content that was downloaded? Like from websites? It wasn't actual
child exploitation material.
Also to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day.
Never going to see the light of day, that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I agree that probably some of this is true, and it shouldn't see the light of day.
Well, now she's trying. Now they're saying that thousands of hours of footage wasn't footage that was personally filmed. It was footage just from, like, the dark web or something? All right, bro.
But that isn't just what the FBI said they found. They also said they had videos and images of Epstein himself with minors. And was anyone else on these videos? We don't know.
Okay, so that she doesn't even remember what the FBI is saying.
Is of Epstein himself with minors, and was anyone?
Yeah, like, obviously there's videos of him doing the stuff. So, Pam Bondi is saying that there's videos of him committing crimes because he recorded himself and himself only committing crimes. And there's videos of just nasty shit that he downloaded from the World Wide Web. Y'all are smoking grass.
Anyone else on these videos? We don't know, and they're not going to release it. And finally, they also addressed this whole agent angle where Alex Acosta said back in the day that Epstein belonged to intelligence. The idea is he was working for someone. There's been reports that he had CIA meetings on his calendar or that he might have been an FBI informant. Pam Bondi comes in and says she doesn't know anything about it.
To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that.
Now,
what do you mean we can... We can get back to you on that? What do you mean? You still don't know? Wait, they said the investigation is closed. Stop asking us about it. Was Epstein ever an agent for the government? You know, we don't actually know. I'll have to get back to you on that. You what? What do you mean you don't know? How do you not know that?
Or that he might have been an FBI informant. Pam Bondi comes in and says she doesn't know anything about it.
To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that.
We can get back to you on that. They're so bad at this that they're making me think of shit that I wouldn't have even thought of before. Just say no. Just say no. He never worked for the government. He was never an agent. That's nonsense. That's conspiratorial Bolsheviks, right? What do you mean? I don't know anything about that. I'll get back to you on it, but also stop asking.
Now, if true, this is pretty unbelievable because this is the same person who just saw all the files, reviewed all the files that were on her desk.
That's what I'm saying. They went through all the files. I'm getting mad. I'm not gonna crash out. Everybody take a deep breath. Oh. This is crazy. This is so much worse than I thought. It just keeps getting worse.
No idea if he was a member of intelligence. Like, how is that possible that you reviewed the entire file? And does anyone actually believe that? Like, we're going to hear definitive stuff on this? If they haven't released it now, if they're scolding you now, do you think really they're going to open that can of worms back up? How can you really say you have no idea if that's the case if you've reviewed the entire file? There's really no way to see this release as anything other than an abject humiliation of the people involved here, and it's mostly their own fault. I mean, these are the same people who engaged in the conspiratorial thinking of, hey, this is definitely a cover-up, this is definitely more to see here.
Yeah, their main issue is that the same people that are now telling you that nothing is going on are the same people that were like, trust me, there's stuff going on, put me in this position and I'll expose you to it. And then they're just like, why would you expect us to expose you to these things? That's gross and you're sick. It's peak gaslighting. It's actually kind of impressive. It would be more impressive if it wasn't so abominable. I like the disrespect that I feel. Like, man, this is upsetting to me. And I lean blue team. I can only imagine what it's like to be red team and like vote for these people just to have them fucking spit in your face and be like, you idiot, you actually thought we were gonna reveal this shit? This is a joke.
They get in and then they say the same stuff. So really it comes down to they overpromised, they underdelivered, and then now they're scolding everybody involved for expecting the things that they were promised. Even Peter Doocy of Fox News, who's not exactly...
Even Peter Doocy of Fox News is about to fry them up? Oh, Jesus.
Exactly a left-leaning guy, was pressing the White House secretary on exactly this. These promises that failed to live up to the hype.
Okay, so the FBI looked at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
Take a beat before you lie, or alternatively, tell the truth. I don't know. We're watching the clip again. This is embarrassing.
List of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and
they're doing the same thing that the Biden administration did. Oh my God. But this is way worse. So if you've been listening to Derapy for a really, really, really long time, I mean, before 99% of you were listening to the show, actually. But if you went back and listened, there was this episode of Derapy that I made where the White House was lying about something that Joe Biden said. And I made this whole episode talking about how silly it was that they were lying about how Joe Biden accidentally read the instructions on the teleprompter, and they literally changed the White House transcript and tried to convince people that Joe Biden wasn't saying what you heard him say. He was saying what they told you he said. He said end of quote, repeat the line. And they were like, no, that's not what he said. Even though you watched him say it. And I was like, man, that's crazy. I lean blue team, but it sucks when you're blatantly lied to like this. The government thinks you're stupid. Now, this exact same thing is happening again, but this is way worse than trying to pretend that Joe Biden didn't read a teleprompter wrong. This is them saying yeah, I know that right after this guy asked about the client list, she said it was on her desk. Now they're like, that's not actually what she said. You didn't see that the way you thought you saw it. What she actually meant, even though she didn't say it, is that all the Epstein stuff was on her desk. She wasn't answering the question that you had just asked, and you didn't hear what you think you heard. This shit is so insulting.
Let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that.
That's what she was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that, but you just said it. You just said what she was saying, and then right after was like, I'll let her speak to it. You just did. I fucking hate these people, dog.
But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars.
Yeah, they're more than committed to bad people getting put behind bars, except for anyone who is involved with Epstein. Where are the Epstein bad guys who were on that island, who were fraternizing with Epstein? Are we to believe that none of them did anything incriminating? It was just Epstein by himself, and all these people loved hanging out with him? I mean, we have reports. The crazy thing is all this stuff is open. We have reports that Epstein's whole house was bugged specifically to record people in their private moments, and we're supposed to pretend like none of this existed.
He showed me where the men monitoring everything were.
Oh my God. It just keeps getting worse.
I looked on the cameras and I saw toilet, bed, toilet, bed. It was very obvious that they were monitoring private moments.
So the idea that it's just Epstein, there were multiple bedrooms being recorded, but apparently maybe he was just checking in to make sure they got a good night's sleep. He just wanted to make sure these millionaires and billionaires were getting their 8 hours. So yeah, the level of gaslighting here is unbelievable. And
the level of gaslighting is unprecedented. It is it is generational. Why would he have a camera in every different bedroom, but he's the only one that ever did anything ever? Where's the... This is so sad, man.
That's going to be where we have to wrap it. Don't forget, Crime is Legal merch is ending in a few days. Go to...
Don't forget, Crime is Legal merch. God, I love CoffeeZilla. Please go subscribe to voidzilla.
Bill Clinton. Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. That island.
Oh my God, he just openly says it.
Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it.
He knows? He literally knows?
Yes, Prince Andrew.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
He doesn't say that the FBI isn't protecting those people. He's just like, oh no, trust me, the people that are on the list, that's why it hasn't been released.
Killed Jeffrey Epstein. This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
You know Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like...
This is the same dude right before he gets into the... Hold on.
Look like a suicide.
You know Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure? That person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that. His plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense.
There are a lot of people.
He's saying it with so much confidence, too.
Who are knee deep in the Washington swamp, who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it.
Would you... We're trying!
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff. And
I'm sorry. I love how Trump was so cool and so quick. They were like, 9/11 files? Oh, yeah, for sure. JFK files? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Epstein files? Yes. But hold on, okay? We want to make sure that stuff is, we want to make sure that stuff is real, it's valid. There could be some weird stuff on there. We're not trying to get anybody in trouble.
because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
What do you mean? There's a lot of phony stuff with that world. What do you mean?
Or at least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly.
I don't know about Epstein as much as I do the others. 9/11 files? Let him have it. Let him have it. Let him have it. JFK stuff? Bah! Let him cook. Epstein files? Oh, hey, come on now. Hey, let's... Hold your horses. Hold your horses.
About the way he died, it'd be interesting to find out what happened there, because that was a weird situation, and the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera.
I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have
Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee. Hey, yo! Shout out Tennessee! Marsha Blackburn, let's talk about it. Here we go.
And the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera.
I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking.
Hey, I didn't vote for Marsha Blackburn. I might have missed that election. That's on me. But does she cook here? Possibly.
Absolutely, Senator. Child trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past.
Release the list.
Release the list. Theo Vaughn just cracking up, dog. Release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
I just wanted to reiterate that again. They're gonna tell you that she wasn't talking about the list, even though that's exactly what he asked about, and she answered immediately after. But okay.
To review.
A lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, when can we see them?
Look, she just said again. I did say that. Listen.
Wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk.
I did. Fuck. Jesus. What are we talking about?
When can we see them, and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are...
She again, she says I do. I have the God.
Well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims.
200 victims. How do you know there's 200 victims if you haven't seen 200 people be victimized? So either she's saying that she's seen 200 individuals be victimized and she knows they're all Epstein, she's just not sharing yet, or she's just making it up. Why would you lie about there being victims if there aren't? What are we talking about, blood? What are we waffling about?
100. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected. Other than that,
blur the faces. It's just not that hard to blur something. We have to make sure their identities are protected. From who? Him? But he's dead. And now they're saying there's nobody else.
I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released. There are tens of thousands of videos.
Tens of thousands of videos.
Of Epstein with children or child.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah, what you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot
of flight logs, a lot of names,
a lot of information. Tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names. Hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names.
A lot of flight logs and a lot of names. You lie! Liar! You're lying!
A lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, well,
along with his co-defendant.
Absolutely, and he had help. That's for sure.
He sure did.
And he had help. He sure did. Pam Bondi. It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. I couldn't sleep.
In Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names.
We have flight logs.
That will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable.
Flight logs tied to accused trafficker Jeffrey Epstein have been released to some conservative political commentators. They walked out of the White House holding binders labeled the Epstein files.
There was an expectation that this was going to be bigger. You had the same expectation.
We all did. And the FBI...
We all did. Did you see her?
Handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, you know, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept, Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course. And, you know, we're going to go through it as fast as we can, but go through it very cautiously to protect all the victims of Epstein.
Now, is that the only thing?
She's just yapping. Like, she's legitimately just yapping. Like, I don't even think she's keeping up with all of the stuff she's saying. I mean, you don't have to do a lot of speculation. You don't have to do a lot of investigating. You can literally just listen to her saying that they have it and what they have and where it is and when it's getting released, and then it just not happening, and then her just saying, stop asking about it. It's really odd that there's just seemingly no consequence for any of this. Like, what do we do about this?
Thing that would be redacted, will everything else be made public?
It's always about protecting the victim. But you know what? We believe in transparency, and America has the right to know.
What we know is that this was a large network of high-profile, high-dollar predators who abused untold numbers of minors. Only one person
has been prosecuted for these crimes, and that is Ghislaine Maxwell.
If there was a video of some guy or gal
He's trying to sound so serious here.
committing felonies on an island, and I'm in charge,
It's so hard to take this clip seriously when you see the smoke being blown in his face, dog.
don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
Never let somebody tell you that Joe Rogan runs a comedy podcast. Like, what the fuck is this anymore?
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is
Have
the
you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what.
You guys have gone over all of the video that's available? Yeah.
It takes so much damn time.
Did Jeffrey Epstein himself, or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
You're working through it right now, but you said that you already... Okay.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file.
If there was no one but Jeff, why is Maxwell in jail? Well, see, what they're saying is, it's really simple, right?
Yes, there are thousands of videos and maybe over 1,000 victims, but Ghislaine was bringing them in, Epstein was doing the deeds, and that was it. And all of this is a lot to do about nothing. And is there any evidence? Maybe. Will anybody ever see it? No. Will she stay in jail? Yeah. I don't know.
The Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever.
You are, though.
But I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters...
Do they take us for fools? The answer is yes.
We are diligently working on that, and it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them. And you're going to get the video of the cell, and you're going to see for yourself.
We do have video. It's not the greatest video in the world. I don't want to set expectations on fire. However, the video does show in that specific block that he goes in, made a phone call. You'll see 12 hours of guards going to basically check on him, come back. You'll see no one really comes out in that bay, in that area, than him. There's no one in there. When you combine that with the other evidence where we will...
You just never see the inside of his cell.
...be releasing in the coming weeks. We're still finalizing some of the products. I think it's pretty clear.
Overnight, the FBI and Justice Department releasing 11 hours of footage they say helps confirm notorious financier Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in his Manhattan jail cell in 2019. But perhaps the biggest bombshell, investigators say they found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third.
No evidence that could even motivate them to continue the investigation. They are literally done with it. Even though there are accusers that said that he had footage from every bedroom, every bathroom at the crib. They're like, nah, but nobody was ever there, though. Or nobody actually did anything, though.
Parties.
Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah, sure. If I
Did I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is...
People still talking about that creep that I definitely haven't been seen in numerous photographs with? That absolute freak? Why are we still talking about that guy? All we did was tell you that we found nothing and to get over it. Why are you asking?
It's unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time.
I can't believe you're asking it about it at a time like this.
Time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration.
So I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. It's because I have integrity.
Guys. Alex Jones? He has integrity. This is tough for him. Nobody knows integrity like Alex Jones. Look at him. He is destroyed.
I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good.
I just need them to lock in and save the country already. They're doing so much good, but they're really dropping the ball on this Epstein shit.
And then for them to do something like this, tears my guts out.
Tears my guts out. Yeah, lock in.
This is the worst cover-up of my lifetime, the Epstein case. The reason I'm talking about it so much is because if you can get away with this, you really can get away with anything. If the government can tell people to not believe what they just said a few months ago and have everyone be fine with that, that's just a level of gaslighting that I refuse to be a part of. Never forget, they just promised us names in the release of the Epstein files.
He seems upset. Now, this is why this is important, okay? Me personally, I'm big on not standing for injustice, not being lied to. I hate being gaslit. I hate all that shit, okay? So if voidzilla's out here, if Coffee's out here doing the work trying to expose that, I'm down for that. This isn't a red team, blue team issue. This is about the government lying. It's as simple as that. Shout out Gareth Gord, has been a member for 7 months. Don't forget to like the video.
To be a part of. Never forget, they just promised us names in the release of the Epstein files.
Breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released.
What kind?
A lot of flight logs, a lot of names.
A lot of flight logs and a lot of names. A lot of flight logs and a lot of names. That shit is always gonna, I mean, you just have to be, aware of the things that you're saying while you're being recorded. Like, it's kind of crazy how you would expect that and how you would expect people to not hold you to the standard that you set for yourself. A lot of flight logs and a lot of names. Have you all seen them? I haven't.
You're going to see some Epstein information being released.
What kind?
A lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names.
We have flight logs, we have information, we have names. Also, shout out Alan Stone King for the 2. Spread the bread. That's 2 bread emojis. Just two. Appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you. Chad, am I late to the stream? You are not. We are just getting started.
That will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable.
Yeah, well, apparently there are no names to be given. No list, no blackmail. Epstein has now been pushed as a lone trafficker. It's the lone trafficker theory, guys. Essentially, the government's memo that they just released contradicts everything we've seen before and now basically implies that Epstein was trafficking to himself and Ghislaine Maxwell was trafficking to Epstein, and there was no other blackmail or trafficking going on. That's what this memo essentially implies. His wealth and his power then would be just from his skill as a New York financier.
I'm talking about Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
Basically, he was the world's greatest tax advisor by day and the world's greatest trafficker at night to himself. And the rich and powerful people who all flocked to him and to his island had no idea of this double life.
So, what a Blackbird. The working theory seems to be Epstein was the only guy that did anything bad. Jeff and Ghislaine was trafficking people to Jeffrey and nobody else the whole time for years. Granted, Pam Bondi and friends said that there would be lots of flight logs and lots of names. Or alternatively, ain't nobody did nothing. Doubtful.
That really is kind of the heart of the modern theory, is that just all Epstein by himself, and then his friends just were there for his tax advice, despite not being a tax professional or a lawyer. Not only that, another huge revelation is the fact that really the government has increased the number of victims and decrease the number of perpetrators, right? We had the idea that there were these other perpetrators for a while, that they were just redacted because the government was building cases. Now we got pretty clear statements that there isn't evidence to bring future cases on third parties. But if you look at the original 2019 indictment, it says dozens of victims. This is from Ken Klippenstein. But the Epstein review says over 1,000 victims.
Wow. I feel like that's pretty pertinent. Hold on, let me run that back.
This is from Ken Klippenstein.
So in 2019, they're saying that there's dozens of victims. 2025, apparently there's thousands of victims. Now, how would they come to the conclusion that there's thousands of victims if they didn't at least see 1,000 individual different beings on a tape, on an island, in a house, somewhere? So the government would like us to believe that Jeffrey Epstein himself alone victimized over 1,000 people. That's according to the federal government. That's not me. Now, me personally, I find that unlikely. But, you know, who am I?
But the Epstein review says over 1,000 victims. So what happened, guys? And by the way, in the interim, they also increased the number to 200 to 250.
200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250, actually.
They're just making shit up as they go along. And I feel like under normal circumstances, maybe you could get away with flubbing up some times and some dates, but we're talking about like the most heinous crimes imaginable. Joyner dropped? I know. I just recently downloaded that track. Episode coming soon about that. What is the actual number? It was dozens, then she said 200, then she said, no, I was off by 50. No, actually it's 1,000. But there's not a list of people, it's just one guy. There's more people that were victimized, but there are less people that were doing the victimizing. The math ain't mathing.
So we went from dozens to 200 to over 1,000 in the span of basically a year in terms of victims. We like 10x the number of victims, but now there's no perpetrators. Like the perpetrators have been reduced. That is the crazy thing about what they're implying here, what this lone trafficker theory is pushing forward. It's also strange because previously Epstein, in a court filing, is said to have provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. Case agent advised that no federal prosecution will occur in this matter as long as Epstein continues to uphold his agreement with the state of Florida. So apparently there was some deal where Epstein was providing information to the FBI. What information? We don't know because no one else was involved. There's
also, he died. Interesting. I don't know if this is something that anybody else considered. Maybe this is just me. Shout out Oblivionator in the chat. Been a member for 12 months. That official Derapy logo badge goes brazy. The official story, apparently, is that even though Epstein didn't have anybody else involved in these heinous crimes, but also, according to these documents, he was cooperating to get some type of deal, but also, he killed himself? But he was cooperating. Interesting.
Also the simple fact that if you go to the FBI records, what they call the vault, most of the files are just heavily redacted. So the idea that we got some transparency wave is literally a joke. Yes, it is true. There's no Epstein list where there's like names written down, but names exist in documents, on videos, and images, and they're all redacted. What's going on here? They're going to say, oh, it's all for the victims, right? But it's not all victim names. In addition to that, this lone trafficker theory is already on shaky grounds when you think about Prince Andrew's settlement with Virginia Giuffre.
Now, this is something that I think about a lot. Hold on. I'm going to try to catch it here.
Theory is already on shaky grounds when you think about Prince Andrew's settlement.
Now, somebody is going to have to jump through lots of hoops of logic to explain to me how somebody that is completely innocent pays out $16 million. I will never understand that. This is a little bit of a side tangent, but we are doing commentary, we're doing analysis, we're not just ripping Coffee's vid. This is important. I really want you all to think about this because we're all out here trying to learn, okay? Rest in peace to our girl. I just think that, like, if I was sued, if somebody pressed charges against me, somebody accused me of doing something that I know without a shadow of a doubt that I didn't do, I will never settle. ever in my life because I'm not paying for something that I didn't do. That's always felt like such a simple concept to me. Shannon Sharp, for example, he just had to settle. He had to pay. That means he did something. If Deshaun Watson, the creep that plays for the Browns, who's just as bad of a person as it seems a quarterback, he has to settle. That means he probably did something. Now, people are going to try and tell you that, maybe this guy paid $16 million just to make it go away. Clearly, it hasn't gone away.
With Virginia Giuffre, where he paid $16 million to make civil sexual assault allegations go away. Now, of course, it's worth saying
paying $16 million to make something go away sounds crazy. Like, it doesn't even make sense when you say it out loud.
That he did not admit to guilt. This was a settlement, but that is what you're always going to have with these rich and powerful people. In the same way, you also have Leon Black, who reportedly paid $158 million over 5 years to Jeffrey Epstein for tax advice.
Brother, you're telling me that this dude paid $158 million over 5 years to Jeffrey Epstein for tax advice? You might as well just pay whatever they say you owe in taxes, because there's no way it's $158 million. What is good?
$158 million over 5 years to Jeffrey Epstein for
$158 million over 5 years. Dog, that's an NBA contract. What is good?
Tax advice. And guess what? Leon Black, billionaire, also paid the U.S. Virgin Islands $62 million in cash as part of a settlement, a non-prosecution, where they wouldn't go after him for anything from, quote, any and all claims of any nature whatsoever, specifically related to Jeffrey Epstein. It's worth noting that $15 million of this cash payment will be going to counseling programs and activities or mental health services. You also have Jess Staley, the former boss of Barclays.
It's just so weird because, like, if the government was even the slightest bit competent, they can literally release the names of some of these people that we already know are associated with Jeffrey Epstein just for the sake of getting a little win. But they're not even trying to cover this up well.
He directly admitted to having sex with a member of Epstein's staff, which you would expect if someone was running a trafficking operation. Although, I just have to say that there was a statement that this was entirely consensual, and I'm not saying anything about that. I'm simply saying the idea that Epstein was just trafficking for himself is unlikely to be true, in my opinion. Later, Staley wrote to Epstein, "Say hi to Snow White." Epstein replied, "What character would you like next?" Staley responded, "Beauty and the Beast."
What character would you like next? Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure this is just a euphemism for, like, taxes. It's, like, so blatantly obvious that they're having a conversation about, like, women to be provided in a future event. Nah, this is probably about tax advice, though, for sure.
And then Jeffrey Epstein said, well, one side is available. Obviously, some type of coded message. You can read into that for yourself. But all of this is public. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what makes the government's memo so infuriating, is so much reporting has already been done. These settlements with powerful figures, under denials, yes, but also under very questionable circumstances, make just a complete denial and statement that all of this was just Epstein impossible to believe. In September 2009, Epstein also emailed a woman named Irina to tell her that Jess Staley is staying in the Berkeley Hotel in London tonight. Staley emailed Epstein the next day to say, "I should have taken your offer," according to the Times. There's also this book by one of the 60 Minutes correspondents called A Ticking Clock, where he says that he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, and he said, "I want the tapes," I said to Maxwell at a table at Regency Bar. "I know he was videotaping everyone. I want the tape of Trump with the girls."
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess we're just supposed to pretend like this is completely made up. I want the tapes. But there are no such tapes. There's no such thing. Apparently nobody recorded anyone. Apparently that never happened. Apparently they've already been through all of them. And they watched all of them, and there's nothing because they didn't watch anything because the tapes don't exist.
She didn't deny the existence of the tapes, but said, "I don't know where they are." He apparently replied, "Ask Epstein," and she gave him a stern look and pointed a finger at my face. "I'm the daughter of a press baron. I know the way you people think. If you do one side, you must do the other. If you get tapes on Trump, you have to do Clinton." Now, again, what you make of a third-hand source like this talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, who apparently doesn't deny that some of these tapes exist, was she even telling the truth or just playing some game? Either way, this was all known about, not just by people after the fact, but allegedly by people during the fact. This is from Mark Epstein. It's sourced from Jeffrey Epstein. Quote, if I said what I know about both candidates, they'd have to cancel the election.
If I said what I know about both candidates, they'd have to cancel the election. That's what Jeffrey told me in 2016. Interesting. That almost makes it seem as though somebody that was running for office was associated with Epstein. Odd. Let me just be clear about this. Jeffrey Epstein had information on Donald Trump and the Clintons so incendiary it could have upended the 2016 presidential election if made public, according to the dead financier's younger brother. Now, are we just going to say that his brother is lying about him? What benefit would he have? Oh, word? I'll have to check this out. Trump just had a press conference where he said, don't focus on me, focus on all his other friends who he was closer to. I can give you a list of their names if you want.
Jeffrey told me in 2016. So not even Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly were claiming this was all just between them. They were constantly insinuating that there were compromising things on various powerful people. What's funny is that Trump himself, even before he was in a position to declassify this stuff, had accused other powerful people of doing these things.
Bill Clinton. Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island.
This is insane to me. This clip, I feel like people don't talk about enough. Because what the fuck is this?
To declassify this stuff, had accused other powerful people of doing these things.
Bill Clinton. Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island.
What the fuck? I love how just so casually, he's just like, oh yeah, you know, Bill Clinton, he's got problems. You know that island? No, I didn't know. Why do you know? Why would you?
With Jeffrey Epstein. That island was...
He, unprovoked, brought up Jeffrey Epstein.
Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein.
But now you don't know anything.
That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
The island was a cesspool, ask Prince Andrew. He just throw a motherfuckers under the bus.
You also have the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was in touch with other convicted pedophiles. Larry Nassar, he was writing letters. So the idea, once again, that he was just by himself, off by himself, doing things on his island by himself, and then taking calls with people like Bill Gates simply for philanthropic advice, really pushes the bounds of belief. Don't forget, a close associate of Bill Gates was named a fallback executor on the will of Jeffrey Epstein, which he, by the way, said he was shocked by and he deeply regrets meeting Epstein. Bill Gates has said similar things to that effect. Of course, Bill Gates fraternized.
I regret meeting him. Okay.
With Epstein after he was convicted of crimes. Previously, he told the Wall Street Journal, I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him. But in fact, he met multiple times with him at his Manhattan townhouse. Now, once again, I have to say real quick, all of these people are innocent until proven guilty. All of them deny doing anything untoward.
My name is CoffeeZilla, and I don't want to be sued. My name is CoffeeZilla, and I don't want to be sued. My name is Derapy, and I don't want to be sued.
Allegedly.
All these people are innocent until proven guilty. Everything I say is opinion. Etc., etc., etc.
My point is, there are already too many associations to make the lone trafficker theory make any sense. For example, Jean-Luc Brunel was somebody who apparently trafficked a bunch of people to Epstein, who himself abused a bunch of women and even was charged for it. He was charged for some really awful things and then later found dead in his cell. Interestingly, Epstein was actually a financier of Brunel's modeling agency where a lot of this alleged abuse happened. So once again, the idea of the lone trafficker just doesn't make sense because
literally nobody believes it. That's what's so interesting to me. Like, the propaganda that's being pushed by the White House is like so outrageously lazy that nobody on either side that even thinks for a minute or has had access to any of this information for the past 5 minutes believes it. It's so fascinating to me.
Epstein's directly linked to another guy who is also abusing women. So after all of this, they're really asking you to believe the unbelievable. They're asking you to not believe what they've said about this case, both out of office and now in power. They're asking you to not believe public reporting linking Epstein to other known files. They're asking you not to believe suspicious circumstances regarding settlements of powerful people. They're asking you to believe that Epstein was just the greatest tax advisor and financial advisor on the planet that all of these billionaires needed to consult, despite the fact that there are entire organizations built around providing the same services as this without the, links to crimes. They're asking you to believe that when people are talking about Snow White and Beauty and the Beast, they're referencing Disneyland. And they're especially asking you to believe that they have found 900 new victims since reviewing these files and exactly 0 new perpetrators.
Yep, they found 900 victims. My question is, how do you discover victims without seeing how they became victims and being able to identify anybody that victimized them, with the exception of Jeffrey Epstein? Like, if they really wanted to try and make the story more believable that it was just Epstein doing all the things, then you could very easily just release tapes of Epstein himself with the people, Epstein himself in photos with the victims. So we just be like, oh damn, it really was just him. But they're not even trying. They're just like, trust us, there's tons of victims and it was just him. We don't believe you.
So I'm just not buying it personally. I find it insulting to the intelligence of every single person who's ever looked at this story. And yeah, it really makes me feel like this was a appropriate time to launch a crime is legal merch collection, to be honest. So yeah, this is probably my last video on this for a while, but
he lied.
Know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. Where did you see the people laying outside?
Right across the street from Lafayette Park, sir.
But he's just yapping. Okay, hold on. What context did I miss here? What letter? Breaking from New York Times, Trump signed his book for Epstein, the most prolific diddler, sex trafficker in history, to Jeff. You're the greatest. What's it saying? In an inscription in a copy of Mr. Trump's book, Trump, The Art of the Comeback, that belonged to Mr. Epstein. What are we thinking? Is that Donald Trump's handwriting? Signing this book for Epstein.
Or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be spoken about. Because, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about. And they should speak about them, because they don't talk about them. They talk about me. I have nothing to do with it.
He's literally like, I didn't do anything. They should check out these other guys. You should check out these other guys. Stop looking at me. Go look at somebody else. It wasn't me. I'm not Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends.
This guy hates Bill Clinton. He's been talking shit about him.
Really close friends of Jeffrey Summers should be spoken about. Because, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about. And they should speak about them, because they don't talk about them. They talk about me. I have nothing to do with the guy.
I have nothing to do with the guy. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Everybody's lying except for me. But, I did a little bit of prep for the show. So I always feel like there's always space and time to draw your attention to this image. I mean, me personally, somebody that I'm not close with, I wouldn't have this many images of myself with them. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm...
And she's also been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she has been She just might be a victim.
Oh, now she's a victim.
She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right. Granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Hung out with him?
And I know that's apparently not good, but she's in jail.
Yeah, she didn't do anything, but she is in jail. Yeah. Now Ghislaine's the victim. It's oh, Jesus Christ. This is important.
The raw Epstein footage was modified according to its metadata, despite Dan Bongino previously saying that they would release the original footage so you wouldn't think there were shenanigans.
There's video. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans.
We're working on cleaning it up, but we're going to give you the original version.
Well, unfortunately, that's not what we got. Even the raw video, the original video, was put into Adobe Premiere Pro. This is a scoop from Wired. Quote, metadata shows the FBI's raw Jeffrey Epstein prison video was likely modified.
Shocker. Shocker, the video was edited. Diabolical way to title a Drake drop reaction stream. I'm not gonna hold you, I totally forgot the Drake dropped. I couldn't care less. Yo, I appreciate the $2 though. Can I get 2 croissant emojis? We're spreading the bread.
Basically, they pulled the metadata and showed that the footage appears to be assembled from at least 2 source clips, saved multiple times, exported, and then uploaded to the DOJ's website, where it was presented as raw footage, which technically it is not. Now, I pulled the EXIF data myself. This is what it looks like. You can see that there's...
I'm not even going to pretend to understand what this looks like, but the point is the footage was edited.
These ingredients file path here, where you can see 4 different files. 2 of them are just identical. So 2 unique files here that have been basically stitched together is the most charitable interpretation. But look, the stunning incompetence, if that's what this is kind of hard to take. Just over and over, they sort of hype up what they have and then deliver something different in a meaningful way. I mean, you cannot say, hey, we're going to give you original footage so you don't think there are shenanigans, and then you splice together 2 clips in Premiere Pro. I mean, yes, maybe you didn't do anything with it, but it kind of ruins the whole chain of evidence. Wired actually quotes a professor of UC Berkeley whose research focuses on digital forensics. He has testified in numerous court cases, and he says, if a lawyer brought me this file and asks if it was suitable for court, I'd say no, go back to the source, do it right. Do a direct export from the original system, no monkey business. So,
shocker. They fuck with the footage. I'm appalled, ashamed, disgusted. But what's new?
First, the Epstein files were on Pam Body's desk, then they didn't exist, then they were written by the Democrats, now they're just plain old boring. You don't want to see what's in there.
It's pretty boring stuff. It's sorted, but it's boring.
It's just boring now. It's getting boring, honestly. Listen, I've watched 10 seasons of Love Island UK, and honestly, sometimes it just gets boring. It just gets boring to a point. It just gets boring, honestly. It's where Trump's at. It's just getting boring now.
And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But
whoa, only bad people want to keep talking about holding people that were on the Epstein client list accountable. Look at the dude on the right. He's literally laughing. He's cheesing. Trump is telling his own supporters. He's like, it's really only bad people that want to see these people. I almost feel bad, but nobody made you vote for the guy.
Credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
So there you hear it. Now, to some of you, the copium's going to set in. You're going to say, hey, he said the credible information, we can release it. We should release it, and we'll talk about that. But they also say in the same interview, we already released the credible information.
And the credible information's been given.
So if it's already been given, they're not going to give you more stuff. Now, funny enough, the guy next to Trump looking on and laughing as Trump says this is a big nothing burger, the only people who...
Yeah, the dude next to Trump laughing about it is crazy. Really insane. By the way, if you aren't subscribed to the YouTube channel, what are you doing? What are you doing here? Come on. We do these streams all the time. Lock in. But yeah, the part that I found most infuriating about this is the fact that they're literally asking him about like the most diabolical shit ever, and the dude right next to him is just like, only bad people still care about this.
Would deal in this kind of talk or fake news. That is Epstein's neighbor. That is Howard Lutnick, who has a house that was next to Epstein's place. You can see him laughing here.
That is literally Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor. Just yucking it up as Trump tells you to get over the Epstein files. What a guy. What a pair.
It's even been reported that Howard Lutnick's place actually literally touches Jeffrey Epstein's house. That's how close their two houses are together. That's the same guy laughing at a statement by the president that Jeffrey Epstein is boring and there's no reason to look into him. And if you do, you're a bad person.
Really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going.
Only bad people and fake news want to talk about Epstein. If you want to talk about Epstein, you're bad or you're fake or you're fake or you're bad or you're China.
I almost don't have words for this, to be calling it boring, to be talking about one of the world's largest predators of all time and trying to figure out who the powerful people are who are connected with this guy, especially when the former neighbor of said predator is standing there laughing as you say that everyone interested in this case is somehow fake news or a bad person. You can see this both in property records and...
It's like, wouldn't it be more bad to, like, not care at all?
In public press statements at the time about Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, saying that Howard Lutnick of Cantor Fitzgerald bought the adjacent smaller townhouse owned by Lex Wexner. That's one of Epstein's famous benefactors. And in fact, Epstein owned the house that later got sold to Howard Lutnick. You can see he owns the trust that owned this house. Later, of course, it goes to Comet Trust and then to Howard Lutnick. Supposedly, the property was sold for $10 in cash value and some other equivalent things. We don't know how much, just to be clear. So maybe it was a fair value price. And maybe they don't know each other. I want to be clear that Howard Lutnick denies knowing Jeffrey Epstein or being associated. So we have to get that in there. But the optics of this are just completely insane. And anyone who's paying attention should not expect any further disclosures from the FBI, DOJ, despite the fact that Trump is sort of about facing on this and saying, well, we can give over the legitimate files. But as we just showed, the legitimate files they're claiming they've already put out. Here's Donald Trump saying that the Epstein files, once again, are a hoax.
Made up, Democrat-made hoax. Even though when the Democrats had the quote-unquote made-up fake files that they edited, I guess, to make Trump look bad, they didn't release them. But then Trump and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino said that once they take office, they're going to get the files out. And JD Vance also said that they need to release the Epstein files. But now they can't release the Epstein files because they're a Democrat hoax. But, like, when did the Democrats, like, mess with the Epstein files? And if they did mess with them, why didn't they release them? What's the point in messing with the files and then not releasing them? I'm starting to think that maybe this has nothing to do with the Democrats. But who am I? You know, I was just a guy.
But he also says that they can be released if credible.
And in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, and I would say that, you know, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama.
The Epstein files were made up by Obama. You heard it here first, in case you didn't know. The Epstein files were made up by Barack Obama. Yeah, he wrote them himself. You know. You heard it from the President of the United States.
And I would say that, you know, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden information, you know, we went through years of that.
By the Biden info, blah, 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 blah.
With the Russia hoax.
Russia.
With all of the different things that we had to go through, we've gone through years of it. But she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible.
Whatever she thinks it's credible, it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks. Me personally, you know, if my name wasn't in the files, I'd have them released immediately. But, you know, I guess that's just too logical. It's just too reasonable.
So that's the second time now he's pushed it off on his attorney general to now handle. But I just don't think this is meaningful because, like I said, they've already said they've given us the credible information already. I think basically they're going to kill it from here. That's my guess, especially since we did get a word from Pam Bondi about this when asked. She basically said we're just going to defer to the memo.
Would release credible files related to Mr. Epstein. Are you prepared to do that, and when would you do that?
Our memo speaks for itself, and we'll get back to you on anything else. I haven't seen all of his statements today.
So I think that shows.
I haven't seen all of his statements today. Weren't you with him? Don't you guys talk? Also, it's like, She said refer to the memo, but the memo says the investigation's over, but Trump said to release the credible ones. Nobody knows what they're talking about. Everybody's just freestyling.
Pretty clearly that they're going to just continue barreling down this path while giving people a bone as far as making it seem like they might release something. This is a common smokescreen that we see where they will kind of bait people like, maybe we'll release something, maybe we'll release something, maybe, and then every like 12 months or something, they release something of complete non-importance. The problem is when people like this control the files, anything but a full release besides the CSAM and victims' names is not going to do it. You have to, the only way to do something like this is to release all of the files, except for those small categories. That's the only way to build back trust. But clearly that's not what's going to happen. And anyone who's paying the slightest bit of attention to what our leaders are actually saying, they are absolutely telling you they're not going to do it. They're all deferring to each other. Trump's deferring to Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi's deferring to the memo. And ultimately, no one is going to be held accountable. Now, there have been some...
It's honestly really sad. It's honestly really sad. As somebody that, like, you know, I know that I'm probably not the single most invested person in the world in this stuff, but I do think about it, like, far more than people would imagine. I like, just a little quick tangent here. The entire reason for the existence of Derapy right there is because I felt like there was stuff that was weighing me down. Because, like, I'm such a yapper. I have so much to say. I have so much stuff on my mind. So many things happen to me that I think are silly or interesting or funny. That's the entire reason that I started the podcast, the show, is because there's stuff that I had to get off my chest, you know. I'm Derek. It's Derapy. You get it, right? And this is one of those things that I cannot stop thinking about, which is why, even though, like, this isn't what most of the channel is about, and it's not, like, super lucrative or anything, I still feel like it's important for us to like try and get to the bottom of what's going on, because like at my core, I'm just the type of person that like hates being lied to. I hate people being taken advantage of. And even though I'm not like super invested in politics generally, I am super invested in like when the president is clearly lying to us. Like to me, that's just like such a phenomenal thing. And I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. So I feel like it's important to make time for stuff like this, especially considering like the intense subject matter. Like it's kind of insane. I know that like some people hit me and they'd be like, hey, yo, what's up with this Epstein shit, dog? I thought this was a music channel. I thought this was a fridge channel. I thought this was a Kendrick channel. But this matters to me, so you know, just lock in. Shout out AC in the chat. Also, like the video. I don't know if the Epstein files are ever gonna get released, but in the meantime, the least that we can do is try and continue holding people accountable by just keeping the shit trending every day, continuing to talk about it, and also obviously shout out CoffeeZilla for doing the actual work. You know, I'm really just out here commentating on what he's talking about. So make sure you subscribe to voidzilla. But let's continue.
Political games played with this, with the Democrats trying to get the Epstein files released. And this was actually blocked by people in Congress, which is just so mind-blowing to me that people would actually say no to releasing this, but they did.
Saying aye?
Aye.
Those opposed say no? No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment's not agreed
Chair,
to.
I'm kind of shocked by that. I will ask for a roll call.
5 yeas, 7 nays.
The amendment is not agreed to. And I think most of us believe what's appropriate will be released when it is time for the president to release it. Thank you.
So there you see it. We're just supposed to...
It's crazy to hold a vote to release the Epstein files and have anybody like be able to sleep well at night knowing that they voted no. Like that shit makes no sense to me.
To blindly trust that they're going to release it. Honestly, I have no faith in any of this. I think this is all political theater. Honestly, the people who are like, oh, look, it's just the Republicans. We could have released this a long time ago. To be honest, I don't trust any of these people until I see actual documents released. I believe this is all theater. I don't actually believe they're going to get this done. I think they could have been doing this from the very beginning. And truth be told, we've seen our government protect Jeffrey Epstein for over a decade. This didn't start in 2019 when he died. This has been going on since the early 2000s from his first plea deal where he got a non-prosecution agreement. I mean, we have been protecting this guy. Powerful people have been protecting him for years upon years upon years, and it crosses party lines. So while, yeah, I guess it's cool that we're like making little votes like this and we get to see like people...
Wait, you're white.
actually put the words out there. Like, I'm not...
Okay, just to be clear, I'm this guy. I'm not the guy in the bottom right corner that's doing most of the yapping. I am that black guy.
Going to force the release because they'll tell us when they feel like it so we can see the despicableness firsthand. I don't actually believe that politicians are going to be the one to open this case wide open. I think
Oops, sorry, man. It's okay.
It's going to be either a leaker, a hacker, somebody who is just like willing to YOLO on this that will actually meaningfully move this case forward.
Yo, whatever happened to that anonymous group or whatever that used to like threaten people and say like crazy shit like we're gonna leak your IP address. We need to get that anonymous team on the Epstein files so they can hack something and release some shit. Like it's getting out of control. This shit's been going on for months. Years even.
I haven't seen
Snowden, we need you.
any evidence that there is political will besides dunking on your political opponent to actually do anything. Because that's all we've really seen so far is people hit each other with the old like, you're involved with Epstein. And then you go, well, hey, can you release the files? And they always say, well, we'd sure love to, but actually, no, we can't. Now that might sound a little doomer. I won't blame you if you get excited about the possible release of the Epstein files. But I just feel like we've been down this road before with people promising to, expose the deep state, expose the guys in power. In fact, ironically, that's the story of how we got here now, is the Trump administration was dunking on their political opponents for years, saying that, they're secretly involved with Epstein until it was time to release the files. And then now, yeah, it was made by the Democrats. So that's where we're
Yeah, I just, like, outside of enjoying the easy layups and dunking on Trump every Wing Wong Wednesday. Like, I try not to go out of my way to, bully red team. I like to believe that people are voting based off of like what they think is best for their family or their future or their community or whatever. So I try not to wade into waters like that too deeply and too often. But I never want to hear anybody on red team say that they are voting for these people based off of like morals or integrity or draining the swamp or like getting rid of the deep state or like locking up PIDs. I don't believe you anymore. They're literally running like everything and they're releasing nothing and there's really no excuse for it. So that's kind of just where we're at right now.
We're gonna leave it. They're literally laughing at us. They're calling it boring. They're saying nothing to see here. While both people on the screen were somehow involved or linked to Jeffrey Epstein, it's beyond belief, honestly. And
yeah, subscribe to the channel. There's more work to do. Lock in. It's voidzilla. It's Derapy.
no more investigations into Epstein. No special prosecutor. Trump is tripling, quadrupling down on the idea that it's all a big hoax, despite a lot of his party campaigning on this.
Why is this nigga yelling at me? Hold on. I don't know if that felt louder to you all, but it did to me. My bad.
It was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
You hear that? You hear that, red team? If you care about this shit, you're stupid too. You heard it from the big orange himself.
Despite a lot of his party campaigning on this.
It was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and do the Democrats' work.
That's right. If you care about accountability for a trafficking ring, you're doing the work of the Democrats, apparently, and Trump doesn't want your support. This is another post from Truth Social, where Trump says that it's a scam we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, despite him...
Wait. Hold on. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. And even the Russia scam itself and totally fake and made up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They're no good at governing, no good at policy, no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax.
From Truth Social, where Trump says that it's a scam we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, despite him being one of the people heavily trafficking in this, and saying my past supporters have bought into this hook, line, and sinker.
Wow. This is crazy. This is crazy. This man is really like crashing out on Truth Social. Like this is such a lengthy post that like, would this not just require a press conference? Can you get on camera to say all this? Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this bullshit. Hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left. The lunatic left. That one's new. We're trying out some new names. We got Crooked Hillary. We got the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. We got Russia. We got we had Lion's Head, Little Marco, lunatic left. Yeah, man. He sounds like he's doing really well. He doesn't sound bothered at all.
Clearly saying, if you care about the release of the Epstein files, you're not a real supporter of Trump anymore. You're a past supporter. Saying about his own supporters, let these weaklings continue because I don't want their support anymore.
I'm sorry. This isn't supposed to be funny, but... Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Oh my God. Yo, if you're red team and you care about this Epstein shit, you're a weakling. Weakling? Weakling is crazy. I didn't expect that one. Dude. Yeah, Buddy is bugging out though. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. That is nuts. Me personally, I wouldn't take that level of disrespect.
Saying about his own supporters, let these weaklings continue because I don't want their support anymore. This obviously felt like a huge betrayal to a lot of the people who have supported Trump and expected him to come through on this promise. The last thing most of them were holding on to was the idea of a special prosecutor who could go into the Epstein case and try to get some transparency. In fact, it was reported that Donald Trump was okay with appointing a special prosecutor. This was according to John Solomon, who claimed this in an interview.
Any prompting, without me even asking yet, he says, I also think if that has a special prosecutor, that prosecutor should just look at anything credible about Jeffrey Epstein, and let's get this resolved. Let's get the American people the most transparency. Now, what does that mean? If there's a special prosecutor, this gets out of Pam Body's hands, it goes to an independent person, they look at it, they release what they can about it, and they tell the American people whatever the grand jury can squeeze out of it.
Bro, I'm so sick of this release what they can, bro. We don't care about the names of the victims. We don't need that. I don't want it. We don't have to re-victimize anybody. I want the tapes of people coming and going. You can blur the faces. Who diddled 1,000 people? Y'all said there were over 1,000 victims. 200, 250, over 1,000. Who done it? Either say that it was just Jeff or release the files. Just release the files. Just release the files. Just release the files.
This had many people saying, oh, this is great news. This will bring accountability, transparency. Here's Benny Johnson talking about it.
There's been a dramatic change in approach. Very powerful people inside the administration are pushing for a special counsel, full press briefings on Epstein findings, and so on. And this is because of our voices that cannot be ignored.
Right. Voices that cannot be ignored, except they were just today by Caroline Leavitt, who says Trump is not in favor of a special prosecutor at all. It's not going to happen.
The president said that he floated the idea of a special prosecutor in the Epstein case. Can you confirm that? And has he asked the Attorney General to do this, to appoint a special prosecutor to look it over?
Well, the idea was floated from someone in the media to the president. The president would not recommend a special prosecutor in the Epstein case. That's how he feels. And as for his discussions with the Attorney General, I'm not sure.
Wow, that's how he feels. He feels like, we don't...
You see, the problem with you wanted to know who did the crimes is that then they'd have to tell you who did the crimes. You know, I really didn't consider that. That's valuable input. Thank you.
We don't need more transparency. We don't need more accountability. We need to hush this up, okay? Trump has also responded when asked that he has nothing to do with a special investigation.
President Trump, would you consider appointing a special counsel to investigate the Jeffrey Epstein investigation?
I have nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it, guys.
I have nothing to do with it. Now he said he has nothing to do with it. Well, how are you getting all this information about how it's fake and it's a blue team hoax, but you have nothing to do with it? I don't understand. How do you have nothing to do with it? It's not my problem. That's somebody who cares.
Guys, we've already done the investigation and you should be pleased with what we put out. This was also said by Trump himself, the idea that we've already given you everything credible.
She says, I gave you all the credible information. And if she finds any more credible information, she'll give that too. What more can she do than that?
Right. She's given us all the credible information.
What more can she do? Do you want her to like release the files or something? That'd be crazy. Yeah, he's the president. I do think it's kind of odd that he's like, I know that, it's my Department of Justice and it's my FBI, and I know that the people that are working on this, like, I appointed them. I know that I hired them, and I know that people think that I'm involved, and people are saying that I'm in the files, but I have nothing to do with it.
If she finds more, she will give us more, but we already got it. If you remember, Pam Bondi already gave us the phase 1, which just included a lot of already released information. At the time, they called this the first phase, which sheds light on Epstein's extensive network. An extensive network that now includes 2 people, Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Really information. At the time, they called this the first phase, which sheds light on Epstein's extensive network. An extensive...
Yeah, that's crazy. This brings me back to the time where those people came out with those binders. They came out with the binders. They came out with those binders talking about how it was phase 1. So no phase 2? Typically when there's a phase 1, it's because, it's to differentiate it between the first phase and the second phase, but I guess that, I don't know. Guess they're done.
Network that now includes 2 people, Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Really extensive. Cash Patel, by the way, quoted saying there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, except, of course, all the incredible information, right? You have credible information, you have incredible information that they're gonna hide from us, I guess. With these influencers who had the binder, I guess this is part of the Democrat hoax.
Yeah. I still, to this day, don't understand why this happened. Why they gave these influencers and members of Red Team this binder that says, there's Epstein stuff in here. Trust. But now it's a Democrat hoax. Okay. Sure.
Can't understand why they would do that. Now, as a rewind, though, what has really the FBI DOJ released that wasn't already public? Well, one of the biggest things was the tape, right? The tape of the prison cell, which actually wasn't the prison cell. It was the common area, which couldn't see Epstein's cell, which definitively proves everything, except not only did it not show Epstein's cell, not only were there blind spots in the tape, we also had a Wired report showing that it was a modified file. This was something that went into Premiere Pro, was saved multiple times. We don't know what was changed, if anything. But now we have new reporting from Wired saying that Epstein's prison video had nearly 3 minutes cut out.
Wow. I don't know about you, gang. I feel like 3 minutes is kind of a long time. It feels kind of relevant. I don't know. But maybe Wired's lying. Maybe this news outlet just completely made that up out of nothing. I don't know. Metadata from the raw Epstein prison video shows approximately 2 minutes and 53 seconds were removed from one of 2 stitched together clips. The cut starts right at the missing minute.
Which started at the, quote, missing minute. So I ask again, what credible information has really been released? The only thing that's been released is, ironically, not credible. Not only is this great for people like Prince Andrew, who's now traveling around, guess who else this is great for? Ghislaine Maxwell, who's now appealing her whole conviction on the grounds that the government already gave her a non-prosecution agreement, or more specifically, Epstein a non-prosecution agreement. And we have this statement from Ghislaine Maxwell's family and her counsel of record saying, quote, "I'd be surprised if President Trump knew his lawyers were asking the Supreme Court to let the government break a deal. Judges have previously dismissed her lawyer's arguments that she should have never been prosecuted because of a weird agreement drafted more than 15 years ago. But now, of course, this is at play again, given all the recent revelations and the fact that the family seems pretty directly to be appealing to Trump, which is an interesting turn of events if Maxwell has anything on him or someone else in power."
Yeah, that's something that I've been reading about lately. Article, video that I've seen of people talking about potentially Ghislaine cutting a deal potentially to have some type of immunity or be pardoned, because obviously she has extensive knowledge about the operation. 3 minutes is enough. If you know, you know. I know.
They actually say explicitly he's the ultimate deal maker, and I'm sure he'd agree when the United States gives its word, it should keep it. with all the talk about who's being prosecuted and who isn't, it's especially unfair that Ghislaine Maxwell remains in prison based on a promise that the U.S. government made and broke. This itself raises large concerns given that Trump not only seems to want the Epstein thing to go away, but also that he's wished Maxwell well many times.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly.
I wish her well? I thought this guy was big on law and order. So people get put in prison for their crimes. He's like, I wish him well. Why? Why though?
Powerful men, how do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. She's now in jail.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well.
Okay.
Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty.
So pretty clearly, the president seems to be extending his sympathies to Maxwell in very bizarre terms when asked, hey, do you think this person's going to turn in rich and powerful people? Well, we wish her well. So that worries me when then the Maxwell family and her lawyer are pretty explicitly appealing to the president who wished her well, saying, hey, this whole thing should be barred because of Epstein's former agreement with the prosecutors. Speaking of prosecutors, by the way,
If Epstein had an agreement with the prosecutors, then why did he rage quit life?
Comey was just fired by the DOJ, with many speculating this is an order that comes from the top, from Trump. Now, Maureen was the prosecutor in the Diddy, Epstein, and Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell cases, with some people saying the timing is too coincidental with the whole Epstein investigation and Maureen Comey maybe knowing something about it. The other way to look at this is, of course, that Trump has hated James Comey, her father, for a very long time. James Comey, of course, doesn't seem to like Trump too much. He recently published a photo of Seychelles saying 8647.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and people were...
James Comey, of course, doesn't...
That 8647 thing was kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Like, do I think that he was telling people to, like, go and clip the Prezi? Probably not, but, you know, definitely, you know, it doesn't paint a pretty picture. It doesn't strike me as something you would do if you had a great relationship with the 47th president of the United States. I don't know.
Seemed to like Trump too much. He recently published a photo of Seychelles saying 8647, referring to the 47th president of the United States. So it could be the case this is a revenge firing. It could be over the handling of the Diddy trial. Or, again, it could be over the Epstein-Maxwell cases. But on the whole, what we all want is just more accountability, more transparency. We want these people to release the full files. So on that, I'm going to explore a couple leads that maybe will pan out. There's been a push by the House to have the Epstein files released. This has now become a bipartisan supported thing. Previously,
let's go. We love bipartisanship in that.
Was voted against, but now they're trying to force a vote. I've kind of stated that I'm not sure that this is going to get somewhere. I hope it does, though, just to be clear. I hope they release it. I think it's been covered up for so long. I guess I'm so cynical about it. But I guess in the words of Trump, I wish them well. We wish the House well in trying to release it.
In the words of Trump, I wish him well. Yeah, I don't, it doesn't surprise me that Coffee's a little bit cynical about the entire situation. It's just kind of hard to believe that these people would potentially release information or evidence that could possibly be self-incriminating. But you have to imagine that there are many people that are a part of the House that obviously have like nothing to do with Epstein, and they're just like, man, it'd be really nice if people could stop pestering us about this. Maybe we could actually just vote to have this stuff released. That would be nice, but... You know, if I was a betting man, which I am, here and there, I would assume that the files are never coming out. But, you know, we can hope, we can dream. According to them, Epstein was that dude who kept saying he had an LZ and was just pretending to be all the employees on the phone. Sounds like a Slip and Jimmy scheme.
I will say for the millionth time, this is not a left or right issue. This is the people versus the There's also this report from the New York Times about the $1.5 billion they're trying to chase down. This was handled by JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank. These both paid fines for their involvement in moving money for Jeffrey Epstein. Here, the legislators are trying to actually chase down some of the funds. Notably, the New York Times reports that there was a huge suspicious activity report, also called a SAR, reviewed by the Congressional team that was filed in late 2019 by JP Morgan for $1.1 billion. The report covered 4,700 transactions dating back to 2003, including payments to women from Belarus, Russia, Turkmenistan. Many of Epstein's victims included young women from Eastern European countries. So I will say, as many people have, follow the money is a great idea.
Follow the money.
In a case like this, where Jeffrey Epstein had a bunch of mysterious wealth. Unfortunately, I have to say it's an uphill battle when the most powerful person in America, Donald Trump, seems dead set on closing these files and trying to get it to all go.
Yeah, that's the problem. The person that has the single most power to make something happen is the one that is standing in the way of something happen. Has he seen the South Park episode yet? Can I show that? I don't know. I'd probably get whooped for it.
Of justice officials. So there are birthday letters to Epstein that supposedly have been seen by the DOJ. They have them in their files.
Wow. So apparently the DOJ, if these letters do exist, which, I personally believe that they do, they've already seen them, but will they release them? Should they not be part of the Epstein files? Like, is it so hard to release everything that's Epstein related? I mean, also the idea that Trump was out here drawing a picture of a naked woman to send in a birthday letter is absolutely sickening to even think about.
And the one from Trump supposedly has a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist. The Wall Street Journal goes on to say it's not clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein. Voiceover: there's more to life than having everything. Donald: yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey: nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald: we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. And the final line is, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be a...
A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Ew.
Another wonderful secret. Obviously, that is an insane thing to write to what later would be found out to be one of the world's most prolific pals. But there's also two lines in there which are horrendous. One, enigmas never age. That's just a strange line. It's a very incriminating sounding line. We don't know what it means exactly. And then also,
enigmas never age.
So we see, make every day be another wonderful secret. Of course, this all written inside the outline of a naked woman kind of tells you what secret they may be talking about there. Now,
so wait, are we saying that he wrote... It isn't clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary comment. It actually just hit me that Trump was writing both sides of the conversation, and I feel queasy. What? Get out of here, man. No shot. No shot.
The outline of a naked woman kind of tells you what secret they may be talking about there. Now we're going to go over Trump's response, and then, of course, all the evidence, all the denials, what you may want to know before making up your mind. Like I said, this is not a story where you're going to want to snap to judgment. Even now, I think there's still a lot we need to see.
It's like there's no way that literally everybody is lying about everything and Trump is telling the truth, in my humble opinion. So CNN's lying. Now the Wall Street Journal is lying. Like, where does Trump get his news if everybody's faking it? Is he listening to Derapy?
But I want to go over Trump's response. He gave an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, and he denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. Quote, "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story. I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women," he said. "It's not my language. It's not my words." He told the Journal he was preparing to file a lawsuit if it published the article. "I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else." What?
I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everybody else. But he's starting to sound like Ethan Klein.
What do we make of this? Before we jump into the evidence, before we jump into all the reactions, both public and of the people involved, let's just talk about what this could mean. The denial puts Trump in a very particular position, because if it later comes out and turns out to be true, it's worth saying the Wall Street Journal did not publish a photo of the letter, which everyone's been asking for. There are a lot of reasons not to publish it. Maybe your source didn't allow it, but that's a huge part that could come out that changes the whole landscape of this.
Wait, so they didn't actually publish a photo of the letter. They just described it in sickening detail. Okay. It's like, man, I'm only 28 years old. I'm not even, like, I'm just thinking about, because this happened, they're saying for like a birthday album like 2003, I think. It's possible that Trump did this and he legitimately forgot that he even did it. I'm not going to hold you. Dude's old.
Right? If it comes out, it's very devastating because you wouldn't lie about something like this if you thought it was no big deal, right? The denial actually implies a lot of bad things about what the letter could mean. If you weren't worried about a story like this, if you thought the letter was nothing, you wouldn't deny it. You would just give no comment. You certainly wouldn't give an interview. So now we're going to talk about the reactions of the people involved, because it's worth saying.
It is kind of odd that like something that is so ridiculous would even warrant a comment if you really think about it. Like if somebody accused me of something like that, I'd be like, bro, that's insane. Like, come on. You gotta be kidding me. Like, you're the president of the United States. Like, you have better things to do. To, like, get so uptight about this is kind of wild.
Trump is not the only...
These files are made up by Obama. They're made up by Kendrick Lamar. We still haven't found Drake's daughter. It's all fake news.
Letter mentioned in here. And I think that's really important because in a story like this, you want to look to what could be corroborating evidence. So, Alan Dershowitz is cited in the piece having written a letter that included a mock-up of a Vanity Unfair magazine with mock headlines of who was Jack the Ripper, was it Jeffrey Epstein? Alan, a former lawyer for Epstein, does not deny this. He says,
okay, so just to be clear, hold on. This is so interesting. Okay, so we're really building a case to present that this letter from Trump may be real based on the fact that other people wrote similarly odd pieces of content, of artwork, and they're all saying that they did do it. But Trump is the only one that's like, nope, didn't do that. Nothing like that happened. Absolutely untrue. This is so interesting and gross.
Written a letter that included a mock-up of a Vanity Unfair magazine with mock headlines of who was Jack the Ripper, was it Jeffrey Epstein? Alan, a former lawyer for Epstein, does not deny this. He says, it's been a long time, and I don't recall the content of what I may have written. Lex Wexner also supposedly had a letter in there. He declined to comment. Supposedly his letter was, I wanted to get you what you want, so here it is. After the text was a line drawing of what appeared to be a woman's breast.
So this one person denied to comment, but based on what his letter showed, it was similar to what Trump allegedly provided. Drawing of a woman and some weird shit about Epstein.
And then we have a former assistant who was not cited, who sent Jeffrey a letter. Oh, Jeffrey of Jeffrey, everyone loves you. Fun in the sun, fun just for fun. Pretty innocuous. And then, of course, we have Donald Trump, who denies, of course, the whole thing. So
I'm sorry. His denial of it is so exaggerated. Like, it leads you to believe that it's possible. I never wrote a picture in my life. You've never drawn a picture in your entire life, Trump. Come on, man. You could have just said no.
Pretty innocuous. And then, of course, we have Donald Trump, who denies...
He's so dramatic, bro. Just say no.
Of course, the whole thing. So we have some non-denials, some people who just didn't respond, and then we have Trump. Trump's the only one who's firmly denying this letter so far, with him doubling down on Truth Social, saying, it's not my words, it's not the way I talk, also, I don't draw pictures.
Just to be clear, I've never drawn a picture in my life, not even in first grade. They told me to draw a picture of my house, I said no. You can't know where I live. The Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter supposedly to Epstein. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam, that he shouldn't print this fake story, but he did, and now I'm going to sue his ass off and then out of his third-rate newspaper. Thank you for your attention to this matter, DJZ. Damn, bro. At least he didn't overreact.
I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam and he shouldn't print this fake story, but he did, and now I'm going to sue him in his third-rate newspaper. Now, a couple comments quick on that. One, the Wall Street Journal is not a third-rate newspaper. It's also not a super left-leaning newspaper. Not that that should matter in journalism, but I know people...
As a journalist, as somebody with a journalism degree, it does matter. The type of news outlet that you're discussing, if they have a history of writing a lot of objective articles where they are simply reporting and stating news with lots of cited sources, the Wall Street Journal is a extremely well-established newspaper that has been operating for a very, 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 very long time. So Coffee might not think that that's prevalent. I think that it is. The Wall Street Journal is not infamous for being a partisan paper with a political lean. So the fact that Trump is going so hard at them is like not a great look. It's the fucking Wall Street Journal.
It's also not a super left-leaning newspaper. Not that that should matter in journalism, but I know people's media literacy, that stuff kind of does kind of tip off their signals. It's unlikely they're going to publish something they know they're going to get sued for unless they have something.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's far more likely that the Wall Street Journal is posting something that is, credible. They're not like Fox News, the television program that was sued for saying ridiculous shit, and then their defense was that any reasonable person wouldn't assume that we're actually reporting like serious news. The Wall Street Journal was like valid.
And so here's where I want to talk about a little bit of the circumstantial stuff. So Trump obviously states, I don't draw pictures, but turns out that's kind of not true. So in a book called Never Give Up, Trump wrote, each year I donate an autographed doodle to the Doodle for Hunger auction.
Immediately caught lying. Trump, who you'll remember if you've been here for the past 5 minutes, just said he's never drawn anything ever in his entire life, not once ever, not even in the Notes app, not even in a Etch-a-Sketch. But then Trump literally says that he was donating an autographed doodle annually. So, lie, obviously, but whatever, I guess.
At Tavern on the Green, it's a great event. And sure enough, publicly you can find several doodles that Donald Trump has done.
Hey, look, it's a Trump drawing, and honestly, they're not even that bad.
On the Green, it's a great event. And sure enough, publicly you can find several doodles that Donald Trump has done.
Look at this.
Most of these are of skyline.
Like, I wouldn't even think to draw something like this. Trump is drawing. He lied. He's a liar. Shock.
Architecture, none of these are of women. Still, it's strange to say I don't draw pictures when you very clearly draw pictures and they appear to be in thick marker, which is what you were accused of drawing them in. Now, none of that means anything, but it just reminds me a little bit of the Prince Andrew denial. I don't know if you guys remember
None of that means anything except for the fact that he lied.
The sweat denial. A big part of the interview with Prince Andrew was the denial that he couldn't have done anything bad because he couldn't sweat. So this supposedly falsified Virginia Giuffre's whole story.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
So yeah, that was kind of this claim, like, hey, this couldn't be true because I don't do X, but actually we see that Prince Andrew actually does sweat.
Lying about not sweating when there's like a publicly available image of you sweating your ass off is awesome.
Because I don't do X, but actually we see that Prince Andrew actually does sweat.
This is literally the equivalent of me being like, dude, I don't even talk that much. I'm not like the type of guy that likes hearing the sound of his own voice. And then you find my YouTube channel.
And in the same way, it's not perfect proof, but you really shouldn't say you don't draw pictures when being accused of drawing thick black marker pictures when you definitely draw pictures sometimes. I mean, it's just, and it's public. I mean, that's just kind of
it's such a funny thing to lie about. I've never drawn.
Just an obvious, devastating hole in your whole argument. Now, again, I gotta say, this is just the basics. We do not have the letter, okay? I'm relying on the Wall Street Journal's reporting on this, and we're corroborating with different pieces of public evidence. Ultimately, we need to see if this was actually in the Epstein files. But there are some other stuff, too, that we can look to corroborate this story. So we can look at the bookbinder. So, in the Wall Street Journal report, we see a very specific and interesting corroboration. It says, the book was put together by the New York City bookbinder Herbert Weitz, according to people involved with the process. Weitz listed Epstein as a client on his website in 2003. So here...
Epstein? Client?
Here we have a chance to corroborate externally. Of course, it's not a full corroboration, but we have a chance to look to see, was it actually on his website, right? So if we go to the archive, we see in 2003 at weitzcoleman.com, we see a client list, and we see Jeffrey Epstein is listed on it with a different spelling of Jeffrey, I should note. And this says people for whom we have bound up books and albums. This is another piece of circumstantial evidence.
Whoa, so that's proof that they absolutely got a binder for somebody named Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, it might not have been the Jeffrey Epstein we're familiar with. I mean, there is a G there instead of a J, but you know.
That makes it hard to believe it's just fully made up. Now, you can believe something in the middle. You can believe that the letter exists and the Wall Street Journal saw it and somebody invented it, right? Like, there are a lot of options here. But the idea that, okay, the Wall Street Journal is just fully inventing this story. They're releasing something with literally no evidence. They're just fabricating it all, but citing all these different people, citing third-party stuff that you can fact-check publicly. That's a piece of evidence to think about. Now, we're going to talk about the public reactions to this. We have Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, saying,
oh boy, here we go. The Wall Street Journal published a hatchet job article with a fake birthday letter that is supposedly from 2003. Like, just, again, say it out loud. It doesn't even sound like something that would realistically happen. Yeah, the Wall Street Journal just completely made up this letter from 2003 that Trump wrote to Epstein inside of a picture of the outline of a naked woman for a birthday party. Like, what the fuck? Sometimes stuff is like far too odd and weird and specific to be completely fabricated, and this is just one of those situations. Like, I'm sorry, I think I'm just gonna have to side with the Wall Street Journal over Trump in this case. But you know, it's early days.
The Wall Street Journal published a hatchet job with a fake birthday letter that's supposedly from 2003. This is like the Steele dossier that kickstarted the Russia hoax all over again. The Wall Street Journal refused to show us the letter and conceded they don't even have it in their possession when we asked them to verify the alleged document they're basing their entire fake story on. Then you have Dan Wolkin saying the amount of people who think publications, the scope of the Wall Street Journal, just put explosive stuff out about a public figure without well-established authentication procedures and running it through a team of lawyers know literally nothing about journalism. Charlie Kirk says,
yeah, this is absolutely true. I think people actually kind of have a fundamental misunderstanding of how, like, traditional print journalism works, and the Wall Street Journal is the type of establishment, institution that has been doing news for so long that, like, they go by these traditional standards of, you know, when I was in college, you know, you pitch a story, they ask you about details of the story before they even let you run the story, before you even, like, go and interview people, before you even go out and get B-roll for a story, if we're talking about, like, a video production, like, and it has to be approved. Then when you finish the story, you have to, like, write a whole script for it. People have to see it. They have to create graphics for it. The idea that a team of people would be able to print something like this after it goes through, you know, the person that did it, they talk to the sources, their producer or director, or in this case, if it's print, their editor approves it. It's like, you know, it's kind of a weird thing to just completely make up. There are just so many people that would have to be involved that would just be like, yeah, we won't see any problems with that. There will be no ramifications or repercussions for something like that. Just put it out there. I'm sure Trump will be fine. I'm sure the government won't be upset about it. And kind of the entire point of journalism, the reason why it was initiated in America, at least, was to hold the government accountable, not to just make up shit about the government, you know? We're pretty much past those days. Anyways, I say all of this to say that, you know, a lot of times when you're doing print media, there's like a name directly attached to it. It's like, why would you even open yourself up to litigation by printing something that you know personally is fake? Like, come on, dog. They're not doing this for entertainment. They're actually reporting. And Trump's just like, they made it up. They made the whole thing up. I've never drawn a picture in my life.
Authentication procedures and running it through a team of lawyers know literally nothing about journalism. Charlie Kirk says, this is not how Trump talks at all. I don't believe.
This is not how Trump talks at all. Yeah, Charlie Kirk says that as if he was buddy-buddy with Trump in 2003. Shut up, Charlie.
Referring to the actual letter's contents. Specifically, people picked up on the idea that Trump says enigma in the writing of it. In fact, Trump writing at all, some people find that hard to believe. J.D. Vance says, forgive my language, but this story is complete and utter bull. The Wall Street Journal should be ashamed of publishing it. Where's the letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Donald Trump? Of course.
They never showed it to us before publishing it? They never showed it to us before publishing it. They don't have to show you it. You don't have to run stories and sources and physical evidence by the government before you publish a story about somebody in government. That's not how journalism works, J.D. Vance.
Publishing it. Where's the letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Donald Trump? Of course, then you have a response to that where somebody says, Carson's an enigma to me. This is clearly debunking the idea that the word enigma is not in Trump's vocabulary.
Once again, somebody being like, Trump would never even say the word enigma. Here's Trump saying enigma.
Now, Carson's an enigma to me.
So that clearly debunks the idea that he couldn't have written this because enigma wasn't in his vocabulary. It actually is.
It's like, look, I understand that many of you think that like Trump is a dumbass. You have to have like some level of vocabulary, smart talk. You got to know some buzzwords to make it as far in business and now in government as Trump has. The defense of he would never say a word like enigma is so fucking stupid to me. Dude, I learned the word enigma from SpongeBob SquarePants. The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
So from where I'm sitting, the letter is odd, but it also is in line with some of these other letters from people like Lex Wexner. It's also in line with some of the doodles that Trump has publicly made. And it is also in line with Trump's recent odd behavior with the Epstein files, where he keeps setting up the idea that there's this big hoax coming, that there's phony stuff in there. And that actually is the most persuasive piece of evidence, Trump's own behavior in this weird meltdown, more than anything which has convinced me. Because on the one hand, there are some things which would tilt in the favor of it not being Trump, right? The very fact that it's a letter, the prose of the letter is a bit strange. And then you also have the fact that, okay, if the DOJ had this during the Biden years, why didn't it come out, right? So that's all pretty compelling until you once again just look at the way Trump has been behaving. I think it strongly suggests that Trump saw something in the Epstein files, was debriefed on something.
Lex Warner is a whole demon. I don't know anything about that person, so if you would like to give me some evidence of that, I'd be more than happy to look into. A demon is crazy.
That he was worried about. Whether it was this letter or something else, I don't know. But clearly there's some...
Please react to the Quadeca album soon. I listened to a little bit of it last night, like before I went to bed, and I don't know if it's the type of thing that like makes sense to really listen to on a stream. I might just keep that one for myself, you know. Not everything that I love and appreciate art-wise needs to be content. You know, I'm trying to draw a line here or there. But I do love Quadeca, and I will be talking about him for a live stream in general soon. But I don't think I'm gonna be bumping that full album on stream. It just doesn't feel like that type of piece of music for real.
Something in those files that he was concerned about being involved with. I think we need a full declassification of these files, except for the CSAM and victims. Now, to the declassifying comment. Donald Trump, based on this, has posted, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked AG Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam should end right now. And Pam Bondi has said,
wow.
President Trump, we are ready to move on the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts. I think that ultimately it needs to be everything or nothing. You can't.
Yeah, I was just about to say the exact same thing, and I haven't seen this video before. It's like, I'm not trying to hear like, oh, these specific things that haven't been unsealed we can release. Oh, if it's pertinent, if it's credible, we can release it. It's like, hey, bruh, can you just release it all, please?
Unseal the grand jury transcripts. I think that ultimately it needs to be everything or nothing. You can't give a little bit at this point. With the level of allegations being leveled against our president, that he would send pretty incriminating letters to the world's most notorious pedophile. Now, again, before he was arrested the first time, if it turns out to be true, is devastating. I mean, totally devastating and horrific, and no one should defend it if it's true. And that's what we need to find out at this point. So I think the answer is clearly that, yes, I would love the Wall Street Journal to release this photo if they have it in their possession, if they can release it from their source. And I would love for the DOJ to declassify the actual relevant pieces of this whole thing.
Based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony. Any and all, but only if it's pertinent. It's a Democrat scam, remember. And if you care about it, you're stupid. And a weakling, according to the President of the United States. If you want to see these people held accountable, you're a big stupid dum-dum.
Because the absolutely central piece of evidence in this whole story are these letters, which are in a leather-bound album and supposedly in the DOJ's possession. That's clearly not going to be a grand jury transcript. That's going to be one of the pieces of evidence they collected from Epstein or Maxwell. And so that is a different category altogether. So I think given that, it's hard to see this as anything other than a distraction from what is actually relevant here, which is, does this album exist? Yes or no? Show us the evidence, right? Show us the physical evidence. Instead, this is just going to get people riled up because it's an Epstein release, but it's guaranteed by definition not to have the evidence one way or another. A transcript is not going to have a piece of physical evidence. And we need to demand answers.
Release the files.
On that, because either it exists or it doesn't. And if it does exist, that's a huge problem. If it doesn't, for the Wall Street Journal, that's a huge problem. And I'm
yeah, really, really awful, terrible, like credibility killing look for the Wall Street Journal if this turns out to be a fake story. But right now, if I had to put my money on it, I'm assuming that it's based in truth. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I just tend to trust the Wall Street Journal to handle something so sensitive with, like, you know, the respect that it deserves. You know, it's just hard for me to believe that they're producing entirely fake stories about something like Jeffrey Epstein.
really not sure which we are going to get first. All I know is that if you are looking from the outside, I would highly recommend that you don't just dismiss things based on a quick, hot Twitter take. There's a lot to this story that is corroborating, and also we need more evidence on before we can really make up their mind. I see a lot of people have just already written it off as completely true or completely false. I think they're not thinking through the implications of, if this is true, how really crazy it would be if we live in that world. And then also the people who are dismissing it as false right away, you're not really thinking through, like, you might be defending a right? That is one of the outcomes that could be true here. We don't know. And again, even if it is true, we don't know what is meant by things like, may every day be another wonderful secret. Our president is far more implicated in the Epstein files than we previously thought. This is according to a Wall Street Journal article.
Not the Wall Street Journal. Oh man, Trump about to do something crazy to the Wall Street Journal, bro.
The Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among...
Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Wait a second.
Trump is in the Epstein files?
Many in the Epstein files. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, that's old news. We knew he was in the flight logs. We knew he was in these phone records. But that's not what we're talking about. Those were already public. Jeffrey's black book, that was already out there. This is a new review of documents that we're talking about. We're going to go through all of it. And we're going to start with Trump actually being asked directly if he was told by his attorney general whether he was mentioned in the Epstein files. And he says, no.
Did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given...
Oh, he said no. Okay, so he lied. All right, cool.
us just a very quick briefing.
In the file.
Epstein files, and he says, no.
Did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No,
Did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the Epstein files? No.
She's given us just a very quick briefing.
So there we have Trump denying being told that his name was in the Epstein files, but a lot of people were wondering, well, then why are you acting so weird with these files?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Who even is that guy? Never heard his name before until the past week. And now it's nonstop with this Epstein guy. It's a hoax.
It's pretty boring stuff that were made up by Obama.
Luckily,
It's pretty boring stuff. It was made up by Obama. That cut is crazy.
Unearthed an interview where Trump actually hints to the fact.
I mean the video cut, not CoffeeZilla's cut. CoffeeZilla's cut is nice.
That he was in fact told that he was in the Epstein files and that it was all fake stuff.
They've been running these files. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me.
Now that file review is going to be separate from what we talked about with the flight logs, the black book, things like that. According to the Wall Street Journal, when the Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a truckload of documents related to Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times.
Whoa. When When Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a quote-unquote truckload of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times, according to senior administration officials. Interesting. Multiple times his name appeared in those documents that were delivered to and reviewed by Pam Bondi. Interesting. His name's in the file.
According to senior administration officials. So, if you remember phase one, right? Phase one was a big scandal because Pam Bondi released these files, but it turned out that these files were an incomplete list of mostly already released stuff. So what did she actually release? Well, she released the flight log and she released the contact book. Then what happened? Well, Pam Bondi, super embarrassed, reached out to Patel and said, hey, I need a bunch of new files. This is not enough. Give us more. She went on Fox News, started talking about, oh, I've got this truckload of documents that is separate from the flight log, from the black book, that we're going to review and release to the American public.
Looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. You know, there were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, but where's the rest of the stuff?
Yeah.
So based on that, I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived.
Will everything else be made public?
It's always about protecting the victim. But
Oh my God.
you know what? We believe in transparency, and America has the right to know.
So there we clearly see there were two separate reviews that happened. First, there's the disclosure in phase 1 of kind of the stuff everyone knew. And then Pam Bondi goes, oh, we got a truckload of new documents. We're going to review those and release those. And that's the review that flagged a bunch of times that Donald Trump's name appeared in here. And that's when they changed their story. Why is this a big deal? Previously, the appearance in the flight logs and the black book were the only appearances we really had of the president. There was really nothing else related to Trump there. It's also notable because Senator Dick Durbin said that the FBI was explicitly instructed to flag Trump's name if it came up in the files.
Attorney General's pressure on FBI to quickly review and produce more Epstein documents as promised. These officials were told to, quote, flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned.
Right.
They flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. So, you know, we're clearly trying to protect the guy. Why protect anybody when it comes to Epstein?
Had a new review where thousands of FBI agents combed through these things, flagging the president's name anywhere it appeared in this truckload of new documents. And that is what we're talking about here. These are new revelations, new pieces of evidence about our president's possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, what are these files? That's what we all want to know, right? Unfortunately, it's being heavily covered up and heavily blocked. Obviously, one answer is the Wall Street Journal's prior reporting on this letter that Trump supposedly, allegedly wrote to Epstein, which talks about a secret that they both share. It's worth noting that the president said he was going to and then did sue the Wall Street Journal over this. He's seeking $10 billion about this.
Okay.
Said he was going to and then did sue the Wall Street Journal over this. He's seeking $10 billion.
He wants $10 billion. All right, man.
Dollars about this. But the most interesting thing about this case is that the Wall Street Journal, its original claim was that this birthday book letter was all in the DOJ's possession earlier, meaning it would have been part of this truckload of new evidence unless it was destroyed. And so one of the best ways to disprove or prove the existence of this thing would just be opening up the Epstein files, which is part of the reason it's so sketchy that they're not doing it. If you're saying that this reporting is false, if you're saying that this birthday book did not exist, then why not just release the files where this birthday letter was supposedly contained? In fact, in this story, we actually have breaking news. Epstein's victim's lawyer now says that the estate of Epstein are actually in possession of this birthday book containing Trump's letter and would be willing to turn it over to authorities.
Oh boy. Oh God. Oh man. So the book may be real. A lawyer for one of the victims says that the Epstein estate has the birthday book?
In this story, we actually have breaking news. Epstein's victim's lawyer now says that the estate of Epstein are actually in possession of this birthday book containing Trump's letter and would be willing to turn it over to authorities.
Now, why would that lawyer lie?
So we'll have to see where that goes.
Possession of that birthday book.
The executors of this estate are in possession of that book.
So already, if true, not only is that a kill shot to this lawsuit, it also proves that there's new mentions of our president in the Epstein files, which are now being covered up. Another big part of this cover-up story has been our government literally shutting down early to avoid a vote on the release of the Epstein files. This is because there were a bunch of representatives ready to vote actually in a bipartisan way on the release of the Epstein files. And a lot of Republicans had splintered off from the party line of not releasing it, backing the president. Speaker Mike Johnson, because he was fearing this, announced he was cutting short the week's legislative business and sending the House home early for the summer to avoid having to hold votes on.
This is insane. Speaker Mike Johnson announced he was cutting short the week's legislative business and sending the House home early for the summer. You bitches get summer break? I'm sorry, what? What do you mean for the summer? The federal government gets a summer break? This is breaking news to me. What do you mean? What? Why does that have me more mad than anything I've heard in this video. What do you mean sent them home early for the summer? Ain't no way, boy.
Releasing the files. I can't think of something more sick than stonewalling the release of files related to a trafficker to try to protect the people implicated in it. I can't think of something more disgusting, except for the hypocrisy that it also represents, because previously, the same guy went on Benny Johnson's show, a conservative commentator, and said he was totally open to releasing the files and would vote on it.
Subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support either of those. I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. Look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well. And we should put everything out there and let the people decide it.
Right. We should trust the American people until it's time to release it and actually vote on it. And then you shut everything down early to avoid it.
Crazy.
Now, later, Mike Johnson came out and said he doesn't want to be lectured on transparency by the Democrats who didn't release the files when they were in power.
Oh, my God.
Well, they wanted it released, and they should have done it. Oh, so you want me to release the files, but you didn't even release them.
All right, bro. Hey, man, get back to work. Clock in, release the files. What are those?
And you see a similar line coming from the White House about this.
Democrats have now seized on this as if they ever wanted transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my God, this is so funny. This is so funny. It used to be like Democrats do something bad and then Republicans do something or like say something about it or draw attention to it, and then they'd be like Republicans pounce. Now the red team is running the same line. Oh my gosh, everybody's making a big deal of this because the Democrats are pushing it. The Democrats are pouncing. The Democrats are forcing you to care about this. It's actually really not. Like, as somebody that did not vote for the Big Orange, I can tell you that it seems like it's coming from all directions when it comes to this Epstein stuff. This doesn't strike me as a blue team operation. This just strikes me as people being like, hey, yo, it's kind of weird to close the case and then say that literally nobody did anything. All right, bro. Y'all worried about the wrong thing.
Which is an suggestion for any Democrat to make.
Now, to this, I just have to say, yeah, they're scoring political points now, saying release the files, just like you guys scored political points when you were the party that wasn't in power.
We need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
But the people who actually care about this issue, we just want the files out. So you know an easy way you can prevent having the other side score political points by saying, hey, release the files. You can actually do it. Release the files. Instead, we have a bunch of performative stuff like this from AG Pam Bondi and the president, where right after the reporting on the birthday letter about Trump and Epstein's supposed secret, all of a sudden, like a snap, Pam Bondi comes out and goes, oh, we gotta unseal the grand jury transcripts, despite knowing that there's almost zero chance of that happening. And of course, today we find out that it was denied because they had literally no grounds to do it. It's like not something courts do.
It's just so crazy that they closed the case and said, no other co-conspirators, and by the way, he definitely killed himself. And now they're like, don't worry, we're filing a motion now to unseal these files, unseal these documents. We're gonna look through them, we're gonna release what's credible. It's like, but you guys said it was over already. If you really believed that you'd done everything that you could, then you would just stand on business and be like, guys, we already put out a memo saying it's over. Stop asking. And then just continue to refer back to the memo. Like, y'all don't even know how to cover this up right. Like, I could do it better, and I don't even want it done. But it's like so obvious that you know that you've done something wrong, that you're doing all this like performative shit to just kill time. Until what? They just keep waiting for people to stop caring about it, and it's just not happening.
For a public interest. In fact, the irony of that whole stunt to pretend to be transparent was that the Epstein survivors, which supposedly these people care about so much, were not told, they were not informed that this grand jury information was going to be unsealed. So ironically, despite saying that they want to protect the survivors of Epstein, what they really want to protect are the third parties implicated in all of this, which is why they won't release the Epstein files they could release right now, which is all in their possession, these thousands of documents that they have. In fact, the attempts to distract from the real issue of the Epstein files not being released, the cover-up that's clearly happening, it's actually been breathtaking. In fact, it compelled Trump to release 230,000 pages of documents on MLK's assassination.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about this. Which like I didn't look into because like, dude, with all due respect, who's thinking about MLK's assassination right now? But this is just like another attempt to distract. It's like, hey, bro, just look over here. Look at this. Look at this. Whoa, hey, look over there. Is that 230,000 pages about MLK's assassination? Like, dude, if you don't release these damn Epstein files, quit playing with me.
Which I guess is fine, but like, can you release the conspiracy now? Why are all the conspiracies revealed decades later when we can't hold anyone accountable? But at the time the conspiracies may be happening, all of a sudden it's, oh, well, no, we can't possibly do that. Now, there's another performative thing you should be aware of, and that's the meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell that's supposedly going to happen. The Department of Justice now says they're going to actually talk to Ghislaine directly. Quote, I have communicated with the counsel for Ms. Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. This is confirmed by Maxwell's attorney, who says, I can confirm we are in discussions with the government and that Ghislaine will always testify truthfully. We are grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth in this case. Why is this deeply concerning? Because the idea had been floated that there would be a public testimony to Congress under oath by Maxwell. But this is not that. This is a private meeting with the same people who have been sweeping this issue under the rug the entire time. And what is Ghislaine really focusing on? What is she actually trying to get?
Dude, the only thing that Ghislaine Maxwell wants is to not be in prison. Obviously, she's going to tell them what they want to hear so that they can be like, this is my theory. This is what I think the play is. They're going to hit up Ghislaine and be like, hey, yo, nobody knows more about what old Jeff was up to more than you. So if you come out and say that you actually trafficked 9,000 people only to him, that would really help us out, and we might just help you get out on something. And it's not going to look like we're cutting you a sweet deal because you're giving people the information that they want. They want more access. They want to know more about the case. So we're going to somebody that knows more than anyone, and it's you, Miss Maxwell. Now, what would really help is if you could just say what the government's saying, hell, we'll let you out of jail. You ever heard of a pardon? You know that Trump does those? He let Kodak Black fly.
Trying to get immunity? We already know she's trying to get the president's attention and say, hey, you guys kind of screwed me. You wouldn't want to be seen as, not being a man of your word. We've seen those like vaguely threatening public statements by Maxwell. So what exactly are they going to get out of this? She's totally incentivized to clear everyone from this administration rather than get the truth out. Now, I should say we actually have inside information on this because recently a bunch of world leaders have been meeting with, not journalists, but get this, podcasters to talk about the world. Recently, a bunch of world leaders have been meeting with, not journalists.
Yeah. The Nelk Boys getting a meeting with the leader of Israel is like so crazy. I don't even have words for it yet, but we're not going to get into that right now.
But get this, podcasters to talk about the world affairs of the day. Podcaster Tim Dillon talks about his dinner with what turns out to later be J.D. Vance and some other people where they discussed the affairs of Epstein and stuff like that. And he floats the idea of Maxwell testifying.
Ghislaine must speak. She should testify before Congress. A couple of the people at the dinner, again, it was a small dinner, 3 or 4 people. They said that is not on the table at the moment, but it's not impossible. Nope.
It really kills me that these quote-unquote comedian podcasters are having these private dinners with like high-ranking government officials. Like, what, why? Stop.
But he's super jazzed about it.
So the administration appears to have told Tim Dillon in a private meeting that, yeah, we really don't love the idea of her testifying. But apparently they love the idea of meeting her privately to talk to her behind closed doors where we can't know what is said. Speaking to the only person who's ever been punished at all for Epstein's crimes and whose only incentive is to herself get immunity and get off the hook for all of this. So I obviously think this is a terrible idea. I think it's more of the same cover up. Until they release these files, they're finished. And interestingly,
until they release these files, they're finished. That's what I'm talking about, Coffee.
Tim Dillon, the guy at this dinner with the administration, actually said as much.
I think if they do not release everything they have, they are done. If they do not release, and I told them that, you need to release everything you have.
Yeah, of course. Doesn't take a political analyst to tell you you need to release the file. But of course, that seems to be the one thing they refuse to do. They'll do anything. They'll release MLK files. They'll probably tell you their aliens exist just to avoid releasing the Epstein files.
That is probably what's next. I feel like the government tried something like that before, but they're going to have to let Lil E.T. out at some point in order for us to stop talking about Epstein for like a week. They're gonna be like, hey, yo, at the NFL opener, an alien popped out. Please stop asking about Epstein.
And that is the actually most incriminating part of all of this. It has been the reaction, not the files themselves, that has made this look so bad.
Yeah, they already tried the alien thing, but they gotta actually let one go. Like during a halftime show or something.
The unhinged response to just simple demands for following up on their word, saying they were going to release the Epstein files. Then it's, oh, we looked, we found the president's name a bunch, and now we're not going to show you what's in there. That makes us all assume the worst about what's actually in here. So ultimately, look, I just believe we should get transparency. Obviously, there's a lot we don't know here, but a lot.
Nah, if if the White House came out and said that, all right, guys, let's be real, there are aliens, and he's actually going to pop out with Trump during the next press conference to tell us that we all need to chill. Does anybody have any questions for the alien? First question is going to be, okay, so do you know where the Epstein files are? Yo, shout out to Coffee putting in work. I thought this was just about the end of the stream, but while I was going through catching up on all of his stuff, he goes and drops another update. This one's shorter. It's 4 minutes. He admired Epstein's childlike curiosity is such a crazy title. Here we go. Okay, JD, get in the alien suit. You gotta. I won't fit. Too many Big Macs. But JD, go out there. Do a little alien chuck and jive. Here we go.
Bill Clinton, former president, wrote Jeffrey Epstein a letter where he admired his childlike curiosity.
This man does not waste any time.
Bill Clinton, former president, wrote Jeffrey Epstein a letter where he admired his childlike curiosity. This is according to the Wall Street Journal in another bombshell report where they further divulged the contributors to this birthday book, including
Oh my God, the birthday book scandal continues.
Leon Black. This is a continuation of the reporting about Donald Trump, Lex Wexner, where reportedly a bunch of powerful people got together to send Jeffrey Epstein birthday letters, which were all compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, we covered this in a previous video. Of course, Trump denied it. He said, that's not me. I don't draw pictures, and then sued the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion. Of course, he also sued Rupert Murdoch, who owns a bunch of news organizations, including Fox News, the New York Post, outlets you'd consider right-leaning. And today, the whole story about it all being a
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Hold on.
Wall Street Journal for $10 billion. Of course, he also sued Rupert Murdoch, who owns a bunch of news organizations, including Fox News.
Like, suing Rupert Murdoch, who has Fox News, the New York Post, who is straight up. I'm not going to say they're full-on red team, but look at the color of their logo. Like, what are we doing?
New York Post, outlets you'd consider right-leaning. And today, the whole story about it all being a Democrat hoax falls apart because today the Wall Street Journal implicates Democrats, which is what we've been saying this entire time. When people ask, why didn't the previous administration release these files? There's a lot of possibilities, not the least of which is that they were also implicated.
Because they fuck with Clinton heavy. Bill Clinton. I was about to say something stupid. They rock with Bill Clinton, okay? And even if they didn't rock with Bill Clinton, they rock with, you know, his lady. Miss I got hot sauce in my bag swag Clinton. Bro, get them all. I don't care.
So here we have Bill Clinton's reported letter where he wrote to Jeffrey Epstein. It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted as long across all the years of learning and knowing adventures and illegible, and also to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference. And
childlike curiosity, he says to Jeffrey Epstein. Childlike curiosity. Childlike. I see you, Bill. God thinks he's funny. We got a regular comedian out here.
The solace of friends. Now, we should say this is all before Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. So, of course, Clinton denies knowing anything about this. But I gotta say, of all the things to tell the future biggest file in the world, admiring someone's childlike curiosity is just unlucky, bro. That's right up there with Enigma's never age. May every day be another wonderful secret. It sounds coded in hindsight. Now, we also have something from Leon Black. We know about him. He's the guy who did a non-prosecution settlement with the U.S. Virgin Islands. He reportedly paid Jeffrey Epstein over $100 million for what he described as tax advice. And
Who needs H&R Block when you can pay Mr. Epstein $160 million to handle your taxes?
Estate planning. Now, his letter to Jeffrey Epstein included blonde, red, or brunette spread out geographically with this net of fish. Jeff's now the old man in the sea, signed Love and Kisses, Leon. Now, both of these people declined to comment. They didn't deny writing the letter, which they would do, you think, if such a bombshell report was going to come out and they hadn't done it. This denial to comment on the story, I think, says quite a lot about the book's authenticity. But we also have Jean-Luc Brunel, who reportedly trafficked a ton of women to Jeffrey Epstein. He also was on the book. We don't know what the letter said. Nathan Myhrvold, apparently another billionaire, wrote to Jeffrey Epstein, "They seemed more appropriate than anything I could put into words," and it was followed by photos of a monkey screaming, lions and zebras mating, and a zebra with its penis visible.
What the fuck? Nah, he was asking for these freak ass letters for sure. And it's like, and y'all are gonna tell me that they made all of this up. Some random human at the Wall Street Journal made up all these freak ass letters to Jeffrey Epstein. Or alternatively, they're all real except for the one that Trump wrote, because Trump has never drawn anything except for the times where he's drawn things, and he would never say a word like enigma except for the time where he said it publicly.
Nathan, in response, says he doesn't recall the submission and regularly shares photos and writes of animal behavior. Yeah, guys, totally normal. Sending photos of animals mating to your friend for their birthday. Now, Peter Mandelson, he is actually an ambassador to the United States from the UK. He sent photos of a tropical island and referred to Epstein as, quote, my best pal.
I mean, dude, what?
Come on. He sent photos of a tropical island and referred to Epstein as, quote, my best pal. He declined to comment as well. Tons of huge, powerful people, not just formerly powerful, currently powerful people getting implicated in this birthday book. And what it shows, on the one hand, there's no smoking gun of like, it's not pictures of these people with Jeffrey Epstein and the ladies, but it also blows a hole in the whole tax advice argument. For a long time, people have been wondering, well, maybe Jeffrey Epstein was off on his own doing all this horrible stuff, and these people, they just were going to him for his great tax opinions, right? He was just an accountant by day, pal by night. But these people's letters mostly are centered around sex, around women. So you...
Yeah, It's almost like they knew Jeffrey Epstein for other things that weren't just about finance. All these letters seem to be about kind of sus stuff.
You have to ask yourself, why would you send what ostensibly was their accountant just letters about ladies and women and stuff like that, unless that was
zebra penis?
Also what you knew him for, what you knew he was engaged in, maybe you were engaged in together. So this paints a very dark picture because once again, this is before the arrest. And I think that's what makes it cut both ways. On the one hand, all these people are gonna say, look, we had no idea that he was involved in this stuff. On the other hand, the content of the letters, in many cases, is pretty sketchy and also cuts across party lines. This birthday book has 2 presidents writing to Epstein on his 50th birthday.
That's crazy. That is really... I don't know why, like, when he said it like that, it really hit me. This dude on his 50th birthday, allegedly, had 2 presidents and a couple billionaires writing him freaky birthday letters. Crazy if true.
One former and one who would eventually become president, and together they said they admired his childlike curiosity and enigmas never age. Man, it sure is a mystery why they never wanted this to get out.
Childlike curiosity and enigmas never age. That is the latest. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.